in open session. It's about 7:43. And we just concluded our executive session with our lawyer, Jim Toomey. It was with regards to the Ellis estate, so just wanted to bring you up to date as to where we are. We received a draft letter from the AGO. The board reviewed it. It'll be sent back to the AGO with our comments, and they'll have final approval to look at it. And at that time, when they send us the final resolution, it'll be read in the next open session that follows upon after we receive that letter. Okay? So that's where we are with that, making good progress. So then now we'll ask for any walk-ins here tonight. Yes, sir. What's your name and address?
David Doherty, 122 Gilson Road. Most of the board knows me. I won't take very much of your time. Just I can't get an answer from anybody in the town about this issue, and I thought I'd go to the top. Last year, you voted to have a partial shutdown on the wind turbine, so some of us could sleep. And that was supposed to be from 7 o'clock at night to 7 a.m. and 11 to 7, when the wind conditions were from the southwest and 10 miles an hour under. There's been a number of nights that those conditions have been met, and the thing is just turning and it wakes me up, and I'm exhausted, and I'm recovering from surgery. It's been terrible. The last time was Monday morning. So I've emailed all this time to both Al Barrington and to Jen Heath asking why was it on, and please tell me why, and they never return my phone calls. They never email me back. I can't get any information why the thing is turning during those hours. I hope it's an oversight on the part of somebody. I hope you look into it or find out why. I mean,
We'll definitely make sure that you get an answer, Mr.
Yeah.
Doherty. I've been on those emails as well, so I know that Jennifer and
Yeah.
Al are looking into it. And when they get your information, they send it back to the operator of the wind turbine to confirm what direction the wind is coming from. So I'll make sure that you get a response with regards to that.
well, sure, we can get into an area of controversy over the SCADA data, which is at the station at the top of the nacelle. But when I look out there and the thing's facing right at me, it's from the southwest. I'm a registered land surveyor, professional engineer. I know what direction the wind's coming from. And I look at the wind speed, and I've got a wind meter, and, it's under those conditions. All I can think of is that Gordon Dean, who runs the Situate Wind LLC, is delinquent in something in his programming, or the SCADA data is off. But it's aiming in the direction, and frankly, most of that shutdown was to placate me, because I probably make a lot of the complaints to the town. There's still a great number of people that are impacted by this, but they've given up, and they just don't send in complaints anymore, because I talk to them. They say, what's the difference? Nobody cares about us. I'm not going to waste my time. But I'm a rather tenacious guy, and sometimes over vocal, I guess, about things, obstreperous, I might say, but I'll continue on. I mean, I can't sleep, and it wakes me up, and my ringing in my ears. I've got tinnitus. I've been to my doctors from the stuff, from the impulse. But anyway, at this point, I just want to have what you said you do be done.
And we'll confirm that for you.
So all I would recommend is when it happens, please call the Board of Health so that we can document the time and the day. And then we made these changes because of the people up there and try and make some concessions in terms of the noise. So if it's not being done properly, then we've got to get in touch with them and get them to do it properly.
I email to the people, and usually,
She doesn't have the answer, so she's got to go to, like Mark
well, I know,
said.
but you said make a call. I mean, this is documented.
Oh, email's fine, I'm sorry.
And the timestamp is there, because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm
email's fine as
awake.
well.
I pick up my cell phone and I send a message. I've been doing that.
Great. So we'll know exactly when. It's easy to track what the weather was, and if they're not doing it right, then...
And my neighbor does it too, Ellen. She's a registered nurse in Mass General. She's got to get up at 5 in the morning and go into Boston, and she's beat at the end of the week sometimes. She can't get any sleep, so
Thank you
Well,
for
thank you.
coming in again, Mr. Doherty.
thank you very much.
What's your address again?
122 Gilson Road.
122.
And Ellen Casper next door to me is 120.
120, okay.
Gilson Road. And Paul Orenberger across the street also complained. He's awake.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are there any other walk-ins? Yes. Yep.
statement that I
Name and
wanted...
address.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Andrea Hunt.
Could you go to the mic too, please, Mrs. Hunt? Thank you.
Sorry. I should know this by now. Andrea Hunt, 66 Manlot Road.
Thanks.
The statement that I wanted to read was really to be read before you went into executive session, but I'd like to give you a copy of it, and I would like to have my objection go on record. I have looked into, since we complained the last time, I have consulted with a couple of other lawyers
Complained about what? Complained about what?
complained about the executive session dealing with the Ellis property.
Oh,
And
I
the,
didn't know you complained about that. Okay.
well, our group did. Patty and I did. And we were doing it in representation of the group that has been fighting to get the conservation land taken care of. The Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, that you are quoting to go into executive session, my understanding to that and what the lawyers are telling me is that in the purchase and transfer of land in town, because Situate was incorporated in 1636, as the town of Situate, as a single corporate entity, it cannot negotiate against itself. Therefore, the discussions as to which committee has legal custody of the Ellis land or ought to have legal custody is not appropriate for executive session under my understanding and the lawyer's understanding. The sole purpose of such a discussion would be to shield it from the public, a purpose which is illegal. So we, as concerned citizens, fear that the sole purpose of holding the Ellis discussions in executive session is to conceal them from public scrutiny, and we believe that the use of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, is illegitimate for this particular purpose. If there is a third party involved, and there is a negotiation with a third party, then that third party is supposed to have been stated with an explanation to the public as to why you're going into executive session with this third party.
Sure. So we'll take your statement under advisement. You can hand it in as a piece
Great.
of evidence, and you'll hear
Thank
from
you.
our Attorney General where this matter resides today.
Okay. Thank you very
Thank you.
You can do, we'll get it from her.
We got it from Lorraine. We're all set.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Any other walk-ins?
Patricia Lambert, 14 Alexander Place. Mrs. Hunt states it very eloquently, but that exception, 6, to the open meeting law, we do believe and have advised and talked to lots of lawyers that it is not covered under that particular open meeting law by open meeting law sequence. You really shouldn't be using that because we are not transferring, buying anything else. It is public land. We are not going to sell it to anybody. Who are we going to get the best offer from? The Attorney General or from us? So that is that's our objection to this, is that it is public land and should be discussed publicly.
Thank you. Any others? Okay, thank you. There being none, we'll go to the report of the town administrator. Trish, did you want to start, or did you want me to start? Yes, the first one is discussion and vote for the search committee.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
I'll start with that first. So, as you know, we've received the resignation of Trish, and we have to go through a search for the town administrator. The law has changed, so in order to preserve confidentiality for candidates that come in, we have to form a subcommittee as a board. So under the charter,
We don't have to, but that's one of the options.
that's one of the
yeah.
options, you're right. So the board can either conduct every interview for every applicant in public, which could be up to 25 and 50, or we can form a subcommittee and screen those applicants and then bring those final candidates forward publicly so that department heads and the public and everyone will have an opportunity to ask questions and interview those final candidates.
Well, just to clarify, I don't
Yeah.
think the public's going to have that. You have to do your interview in public.
Right.
So it'll be in an open session, and obviously, if the public had questions, they'd forward them to us, and we would incorporate them in the interview.
So, a screening committee obviously has to be less than a quorum for the Board of Selectmen. So, being that we're a board of 5, 2 of us can serve on that. I've also reached out to a retired town administrator to help us with the screening, if you so desire. I think you're both familiar with him, Charlie Costello, who is a retired TA in Hingham, who helped us through the waterways scenario earlier in the year, who was very well received, I thought. And Charlie has offered to sit through us with his expertise. He was a town administrator for 30-plus years, and kind of go through the screening of the applicants to help us identify folks from paper to get them to that next step to public, to the public session. So if that sounds good to you, or any questions about that piece of it?
Just a comment, Charlie was not only a town administrator for a number of years, but in Hingham, it's, another coastal community. And then having met with Charlie more than once on the mooring regulations and so forth, I was very impressed, as well as the Waterways Commission. It was a very, very difficult task that he did a very professional job, and in the end, everyone was happy with it. So I think I didn't even think of the possibility of having him, and I think it's a great choice. I think the town would benefit greatly.
Just a couple other comments. When we hired Trish, the laws have changed since that time. So when we hired Trish, we as a committee, or me as a board, could look through all the resumes, look at them, come up with finalists, and then we interviewed the finalists in an open session. That has since changed. And what our fear is that if people that are looking for the jobs, they don't want to necessarily get their name out there unless they are a finalist. So we think the pool of applicants will be less unless, or I think anyways, unless we go through this process, this kind of scrubbing process where we look at them and say, these 4 are really the best qualified, and we'll talk to them in public, and the other, 5 or 10 or 20 don't have to have the name in public, where their community where they're working now may say, hey, well, I'm looking for a job. So that's really the reason for this process. And isn't, Tricia, you may know, is it an open meeting law? What is the?
It was an opinion issued by the Attorney General's office in the last 8 years since we went through the process.
Right. And I thought
The board acts as its own screening committee. They're subject to the open meeting law.
Right.
And,
Full board.
right. And as most people probably know, that it's the duty of the elected Board of Selectmen to select the town administrator. That's one of the things that we're chartered to do. So I think it's a good idea for us to do that, to try and get the applicant pool as big as we possibly can. And then obviously the finalists will come before the whole board to make a decision.
Okay. Yes.
Just a quick question. Right now, there's only 4 of you,
Mm-hmm.
and there won't be 5 until the 16th of September.
Mhm.
So this interview process won't happen until after the 16th of September?
We're going to try to start and commence the screening process as soon as possible. So we're just going to move along, and if it doesn't happen till the 16th, it doesn't happen till the 16th. We've got 9 applications in thus far. We hope that, the news of moving to a screening committee and that affordability of confidentiality will encourage more people to come forward, because we have a timeline that we want to hit. So
I
yeah,
understand.
so we're just going to move along. There's
I'm not
no
suggesting-
date set.
Right,
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that. My only concern is that there's really only 4 of you.
Right.
Right.
But as far as are you talking about the quorum piece of it?
Yes.
So I consulted with Brandon, our town council, and he confirmed, because we are a body of 5, even though we have an open position right now, that the quorum would be 3, so 2 is fine.
Thank you.
Yep.
And we're trying to get this, we're not going to delay the process at all. Tricia's,
I'm not suggesting
right,
that.
only going to be here, no, not suggesting you were, only going to stay, she was generous enough to stay through November or sometime in the fall, so we don't want to press our luck. And it's going to take time to find the right person, and then they're probably going to have to give notice, so it's not a 2-week turnaround type scenario.
Yes.
Do you have a number of finalists that you're looking at? Like, if you have, say, 12 applicants, are you trying to bring it down to 5 or?
So we don't yet.
You don't.
Obviously, we'll put forward more than one. We have 9. We haven't seen them yet. So nobody has seen any of the resumes yet because we needed to outline the process first. So far we know from our HR director that we have 9 in-house. And it depends on the quality and the qualifications, Andrea. I don't have an answer for you on that yet. Hopefully we get more than 9. So, yep.
Thank you.
Sean, do you remember what we did last time? I think you get it down to 5 or 6 as a manageable number.
But there was a lot more than 9 to
Yeah, I
start
mean,
out.
we looked at probably 20-something resumes.
I'd love to get to 20. So, we need to nominate or make a motion for 2 of us to be, participate and also have a motion for Charlie, if that's the direction that you want to go. If you want to have Charlie help us.
And he's agreed to?
Mhm.
Charlie has agreed to. I called him and asked him whether he was, and he has a fairly open docket in the next couple months. So yes, he has. He's agreed to do it pro bono, not charge us anything. And he has great respect for this town. He has great respect for Tricia. He knew Rick Agnew, so he knows where we came from. He knows where we are today, and he has a good knowledge of West Shore and whatnot. So I think it's a nice opportunity for us to take advantage of.
Right. Well, I'll make a motion that we go with the 3-person search committee. Do we have to do it in pieces, do you think, or should we say who's going to be on it as well?
Just say who's going to be, I think we have to nominate who's going to be on it. Yeah.
Sean, do you want to be on it, or you want me to be on it?
No, I'll nominate Tony Vignani to be on the search committee, along with Charlie Costello.
Second.
And Maura?
Well, and then
Oh,
I'll
you
do
make
Maura,
them all.
all right, and Maura
You can do
Curran
both.
as well. I was gonna do it one at a time. All right, okay, that's fine. Modify it. I'll nominate Tony Vignani, Maura Curran, along with Charlie Costello.
I can't
Yeah.
second my own nomination, so he has to do.
I think you have
Yeah.
to second it right
Second.
now.
Second.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
So we will start as soon as we can to screen these applicants to get them to the next session. Thank you. Trish?
A couple quick things. The board has my most recent updated items pending. It shows the priority items that with an asterisk, but also starting to indicate things that I don't anticipate will be addressed before my departure. So that's more of an FYI. On the personnel front update, our new Conservation and Natural Resources Officer started 3 weeks ago, along with Seth Pfeiffer, our new Cable Executive Director. Both of them are acclimating nicely, and we had a coffee for them last week, a lot of turnout, really positive responses so far. They're doing some programming and taping at Heritage Days, so I'm very excited by that, and they're both great additions. I'd also like to inform the board members that I have appointed a new Director of Planning and Development. He will begin August 21st. I'd like to thank Frank Snow and Steve Pritchard for participating in the search committee for that, along with our HR director. And we also had a meet and greet for the finalists for that position. And I'm clearly not obligated to do that, but since this is a high-profile position, working with lots of boards and committees, we had a number of people attend and provide me feedback. So I think it was a pretty good process. And we are moving forward with our town planner search as well. So August 21st, our new Director of Planning and Development starts.
Great.
What's his name?
Brad Washburn.
He has some great credentials. We're very fortunate to get him. So that was fortunate to have him apply. So thank you.
Yep, I'm very excited, and I think the staff and the folks who attended the meeting were very impressed as well.
Yep. Can I just make one comment before you go to the next item? Tony pointed this out, so I know this is near and dear to a lot of folks' hearts. Unfortunately, one of our committee members, Frank Lynch, passed away suddenly a couple weeks ago. So I just wanted to let folks who knew Frank know that There will be a celebration for his life on August 14th at the Trinity Chapel at Boston College. So he's a Boston College alum. So it'll be at 11 a.m. in case anybody wants to attend.
So Frank, for those folks who knew, thank you, Tony, for reminding me, I wanted to say something. A very active member for years in the Board of Health, and most recently, valued member of the ZBA. Just a wonderful individual for those of us who knew him and worked with him, very dedicated to the town, a great legal mind, and just a great person, and he'll be sorely missed.
Yeah. It was a surprise. I mean, you knew him because you were, yeah.
Liaison for Board of Health for many years, and Frank was just a real gentleman. I didn't know he was sick. It was just very sad, yeah.
Professional, intelligent, easy to talk to, just a real asset to the town.
Sure was.
So do you want to move on to the council on aging survey?
Sure, let's do, Tony and Sean, do you have anything else for Trish with the items pending or the upcoming events?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
And yes.
So as a follow-up and based on feedback, after we had the feasibility presentation from PH&A and also the two very popular open forums that we had on the senior feasibility study, the Council on Aging staff and Linda Hayes drafted this survey to get a wider, cast a wider web, I guess, for all residents in the community, just not our seniors, for their thoughts on the location for the senior center and what folks might see in terms of relative priorities or amenities or things like that. So I want to thank Linda and her staff for her first crack on this. And happy to discuss with the board. We want to really finalize this and get it into a survey monkey as sooner than later. A lot of these questions were already addressed in the UMass study and in the Durkee Brown study, which actually backed us into how we came up with the programming and thus the square footage of any new building, 14,000 square feet. So there's some redundancy here. I think it needs to be retooled a bit to really focus on the 4 locations, what people may or may not like about those locations or what they would want it proximate to. Those are the kinds of things we want to solicit from members of the community and also our seniors as far as the optimum location of the building.
Yeah, that was sort of my take when I looked through them last night. I also think we should keep an eye on the number of questions. But I was kind of struck by, I thought our initial intention of this was to identify which location everybody preferred, and to identify, you know, proximity of different areas, like you had just mentioned, of what's important to them. And I also want to make sure if we do any prioritization questions, that this survey has the ability for folks to prioritize, because the way this is sort of laid out, I don't know how that would work on SurveyMonkey, so I think we need to be aware of our options on SurveyMonkey too, as to what kind of options they have to prioritize some of the choices. But that was my observations from looking at this.
I sent you a few things, which I don't know if it's incorporated in here or not, but I agree, 30 questions is a lot. There's some redundancy in there. One that I just thought of after I emailed you was, I'd like to have a question just that has each location and says which one do you want. I know we're going to do it in SurveyMonkey, but I also want to get them paper surveys out at the senior center, at the library, at what other places, and then maybe we can have some. I know you have to get the data into SurveyMonkey to be able to use all the statistical stuff. So maybe we can get a high school kid or someone to come over
Yeah,
and.
I mean, that's
Not
an
bad, yeah.
issue. I think we have to think this through. We want as many people to fill that out, and the preference is online. We encourage folks who don't have a computer to go to the council agent or the library and have staff help them input. The more raw data we have that's not online is going to require input and also delay, the final results. So so it's sort of a twofold challenge, is we want as many people as possible to fill out the survey, but we want to have really clear bookends so it doesn't go on all ad infinitum, so you can get to an informed decision, so we can move forward on the next step after this piece, and it doesn't take another, 4 or 5 months.
Right. Well, many of the seniors have mentioned at the meetings that they're not computer savvy, so I don't want to eliminate anybody from doing it. And like I said, we'll get, we'll set a strict deadline that they have to be in by, whatever date we want it in by, and we'll get a high school kid or someone to come and key it into the survey.
My other comment too, sorry, Sean, before, is I want to make sure that we're cognizant that this is going to all residents and not just seniors. So we just need to keep that in mind as well and talk about proximity and future use of some of these sites.
No, I really don't have anything else to say. I'd be interested to see if Dr. Price has comments, listen to if he might have something to add. Or-
Is there any way to identify, not that anyone's going to stuff a ballot, but who's taking the survey, like an address or something, so we can, I don't know if anyone's thought of that.
You can have an optional thing that says if you would like to provide your name on the survey, but, that's an option on that way.
Are you looking more to control multiple responses from one person?
Yeah,
Yes.
so, and you can probably do that in the email ones, but not the paper
You
ones.
can limit the survey to that because they get a unique identifier.
Yeah.
To some extent, there's always going to be that possibility, but,
Right.
I'm concerned about volume and then keying in the stuff that doesn't come in through the survey monkey.
And how long are we planning to open the survey for? A week, 2 weeks? What, have we thought about that?
I'd say 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Because we don't
You'd
want
have to, for meetings and things like that,
Yeah,
at least 2 weeks.
Well,
Okay.
see what
do you-
Dr. Price thinks also.
okay. Yes, yeah.
Hi, I'm Nancy Chapman, 83 Aberdeen Drive, and just in regard to the Survey Monkey, I had a couple of thoughts. I was also wondering about duplication and how to prevent it, and a suggestion might be that for the paper ballots, wherever you, maybe you put them in some sort of a controlled capacity where people hand them out and have to see a photo ID or some kind of proof that the person filling out the survey is, first of all, a resident, and then secondly, some sort of mark is made as to that this person has filled the survey out, so that you know that it's
That's a
not
good idea.
filled
We
out
could use the
twice.
voter
We can do that,
registration.
folks,
Yeah.
Both the Council on Aging and some other folks have
Use the
suggested that,
registration.
we can help someone do it themselves, and we can have that kind of
Take
control.
advantage of
if they
September
go to the library or
16th.
the Council on Aging. The
Oh,
other
that's a good
one
idea.
Take
is
advantage of what?
more
September's
challenging
the
if you put
election.
it out in other places and people can just
Right.
grab
Probably
stacks and
wouldn't be
take them and do. Those are great suggestions.
Boy, that would be, there you go.
Yeah, you'll run into the problem at the public spaces, the public library or council on aging, because they'll be using the same computer to do it, in terms of identifying the unique user.
Yeah, but you could take their name or some sort of form ID or give them a unique number.
We're probably overthinking it.
Yeah.
We want,
We'll just go.
we need people
I
to
think
give their
the
input.
bottom line is, I think we agree with you that, A, it's a little long, B, if we can just narrow it down to the location issue and not really so much programming, except things like maybe the walkable track, things like that, that certainly have space constraints in the different properties, and we want to make sure, see how important that is to folks as well. Yes, Dr. Price?
Gordon Price, 48 Manlot Road. When do you think the survey might be ready to get put out there on Monkey and paper? A couple of weeks?
It's going to come back to the board's going to approve the final thing.
So, yeah,
if we-
So hopefully-
probably 3 weeks.
So 2 weeks from today, once they finalize it, we have to upload those things which our IT will do, because they're the master domain hoova for the survey monkey, it's all in their name. But the other thing is we have to get these other non-controllable things out there, be in touch, have staff ready in the library, whatever, and then a methods to collect other public places we may want to put it, and then start grabbing them several times so we do the data input real time, and we don't know how long that will be.
I'm sure Linda probably wouldn't mind, I'm not overstepping my bounds, but I'm sure the Council on Aging would be happy with the tabulation of the survey and helping get all the.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
stuff together. So,
Thank you.
so we can help with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just have one other thing. It's kind of related, but the Council on Aging has, I think we only have one opening for a new member. And I either was present or watched on cable TV the interviews of the applicants. We have, or you have, I think 5 or 6.
Very difficult decision, I
superb
know.
people. And in my years on the board, we've always kind of scratched and begged and borrowed and steal to try to get people on the board. I'm hoping, I guess we'll have to look at our bylaws, I'm hoping maybe we might have something like an associate member, if we could keep these people involved, sort of like the Waterways Commission committee has, so.
Do we have to rewrite that, though?
Yeah, we probably do.
Probably do. And we felt the same way, and we still feel the same way. We haven't voted on appointees yet for the Council on Aging because they were incredible.
Yeah.
And
So,
we should probably talk about that.
yeah, we'll talk about it
But-
when we get to the committee applicant piece, to see what we can do there, Dr. Price. But
Very
I
impressive.
think we share
Mhm.
your observations.
Yeah. The only comment I'll make is, this is also a scenario where just because you're up for renewal doesn't mean you're going to stay on the committee.
Mhm.
So, if someone served there for 9 years, there was so many qualified people, or there may be a subcommittee that we choose to form at a later date. But, it's always, we say it every time, just because you've been on it for 6 years doesn't mean you're going to be on it for another 3 years, so.
Okay, thank you.
And the only other quick thing I want to say is we've done some Survey Monkeys in the past, and we've gotten a very good response. So I'm really hopeful we can get the pulse of the whole community, or at least a good sense. And hopefully there'll be some clear parameters in terms of how they come back. But we've been very fortunate with the response, so that's why we really want to stay with the Survey Monkey.
Can I ask one question before we go on? Dr. Price, when we were at a meeting, we had talked about utilizing the school list to get the survey out to parents. Has anybody looked into that?
I don't know, I
Can your
ask.
committee take a look into that and see if we can obtain that? Because that would be a great way to tap into that community that does not pay attention during the summer.
Mhm.
I'm sure we could
Unless
send
it
out
goes
something
right to
saying
their,
that the
Yeah.
Survey Monkey's out there. and how to
I
get
think we have to be careful. Again, I don't want to say that we don't want the opinions of everyone in town, but the seniors and those becoming seniors probably have a better idea of what their needs are than maybe a 22-year-old. So I think, I think we really want the voice of the seniors and those that are approaching that as people that really identify what the needs for that age group are, as opposed to maybe someone that thinks it'd be nice to put it next to the golf course or something,
And I think given the publicity we had around the forum and stuff, and if we have a window that in 2 weeks, that's it, I'm confident that the
Both
seniors
interested.
will know there's a
Yeah.
2-week
No,
window.
they're-
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
they'll
I was
know.
interested.
And it's,
We've been really good through a lot of folks' efforts for getting the word out that this is out there, look for it, make sure you turn it around, that we can reinforce that message.
the last comment I'll make is it's very important because we've all been to meetings on this, and the dominant choice at every meeting has been a different place. So the first time it was definitely library, and then the next time it was definitely at Gates, and last time it was definitely at the
Driftway.
Driftway. So it's definitely undecided.
You're right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Trish, anything else?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. So we have a little bit of an adjustment in the agenda. We're postponing the Hummerock easement discussion for tonight, and in that place, we're going to move up Kevin Kelly, who is our facilities director, to give us an update on the public buildings. Kevin, are you still here?
I am. Thank you.
How are you this evening?
Great, how are you?
Good.
So I've got a list of some updates on selected buildings. So we'll start with the middle school opening. First day of school is Tuesday, September 5th. The building is very close to substantial completion. All the inspections have been done with the exception of the elevator and the final building inspection. The architect has received all the paperwork they require. The elevator inspection is scheduled for Friday of this week. Once that is complete, Doran Whittier, the architect, and their consultants will provide Bob Vogel and the building department with all the affidavits, the punch list, and substantial completion certificates. Bob has already walked the building, and this week, hopefully, once he has all the paperwork, he can do a final walkthrough, and next week, issue his temporary C of O.
What does the punch list look like? Is it extensive, or?
Yeah, it's good size, but they're working hard at it.
Big building,
Yeah,
so-
it's a big building, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things, but it's going well.
Is it going to open on time?
I think so. We don't have a choice. Yeah, I think we'll be ready. It looks good. Everybody's working really hard to get things done. The functional commissioning of the building systems is scheduled for August 15th. There's a lot of building training going on now for both facilities personnel, teachers, audiovisual stuff, technology things. The movers are coming next Monday and Tuesday to move all the curriculum and faculty belongings and things from old gates to new gates. Furniture in the new building is 80% installed. Technology equipment, as I mentioned, is mostly there and being set up and installed. And exterior planting is ongoing. Hydro seeding will start mid to late August, and final paving is scheduled for August 17th and 18th, weather permitting. And line striping will be right after that, and the ribbon cutting is scheduled for August 27th at 1 p.m. So, they're busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any questions on that, on middle school?
No, I walked through it so long ago, I need to look.
It's a beautiful building.
It's a gorgeous
Yeah, it's great.
building.
It's great. People are going to love it.
Kevin, has the school committee done the foyer on the...
On the backs,
side?
no,
Side?
that has not commenced.
We don't know where that is.
There's discussion of what it should be, what the cost will be, and who's going to actually do it. So there's been a little bit of a pause in that.
All right, 'cause we
Wasn't it-
we
wasn't it-
appropriated that.
We appropriated it, yes, but it's not set up yet for Agostini Bacon to do the work.
Okay.
You said they're.
I think that's accurate.
Okay. If you can find out, so they're unclear what they're going to do? Because
No, they're pretty clear on what they're going to do, because that's been appropriated, but who's going to actually do it has not been determined.
2 years?
They haven't bid it out? They haven't bid it out yet?
I don't think so.
So what they're trying to decide is whether they're gonna do change order for Agostini Bacon to do it as part of the project, I would assume, or to bid it out
Oh, to bid it out separately.
Right.
We have an
Okay.
appropriation.
What, I was just sending a text, what was that for?
The foyer in the high school
All right,
gym
I'll tell you,
access?
the reason I ask is because it came in over budget, and the GC wasn't interested in doing it, so it
The
might be.
bid came in over budget? It was a separate piece.
Yeah, I know it was. It was like, what was it, 150,000?
150, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Nancy? And they were not, and it was a little, at our last meeting, it was a little discouraging because we thought, here they are, they'd want to do it, and they weren't interested in doing it. So,
The contractor,
that's correct, the ones that are here, so
okay.
it's a little discouraging. So, that.
But
I
when
thought
did we,
it was-
when did we allocate that money, Nancy?
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago. How did we- Is that, that's a CPC project, right?
No.
That's a
It's
capital plan?
capital.
Okay.
FY 16.
They did have to wait to do the work until a lot of other work was done, so that's part of the reason. Timing is part of the reason, and now, I think we were planning on Agostini Bacon coming in and doing it, but that's not going to happen. The price was not.
Some changes were made to the concrete apron approach, it was pitched the other way. It was just, maybe when it was built, it might have been not a bad design, but a lot of things have changed, so it might be a little bigger than we
More than they
originally
thought.
thought. Right.
Okay.
Kevin, one other question, and if you don't know the answer, I should. Nancy, you do. Open house? I forget.
August 27th.
Thank you.
And there's the ribbon cutting.
All right, okay.
And
And
I'm
which
sure there'll
time?
be more, but-
That's on the weekend, right?
Yeah, it's on Sunday.
Yes,
Right, Ma'am, if the question's not appropriate, just let me know. Where are we in terms of meeting the budget on the building and
The
the
budget.
posts?
We're under budget.
We are,
By several $1 million.
great.
Uh,
Right now, all three of the buildings have a surplus, as of right now. The school, I'm pretty confident, will continue to have a surplus. Public safety, library, we're still on the punch list, which Kevin's going to talk about in a minute.
Public safety complex, we're 95% complete with the final punch list. Our outstanding bigger issues are, we have some HVAC issues. Many people may be aware of that, and we're waiting for the final tab report on that. We have a balancing issue in parts of the building, especially in the EOC room. Waiting for that acceptance and the mechanical acceptance. Grounds acceptance, we had a meeting on that this week. That's going well. Grading in the back corner where the helipad is going to start August 17th. AV and cameras in the EOC are supposed to start the last week of August, and we're doing some vinyl floor seams, redoing some seams, and we're waiting for DPH to come in and do their final walkthrough for the detention area.
Before you go on, Kevin, Public Safety Complex, we had a meeting there a while ago, it was full house, and it was more. I do not want these people, because what's gonna happen in a few weeks, the air conditioning is gonna get shut off, and it might get forgotten about. So when does the clock, and I mentioned this at a public buildings meeting, when does the clock start, and when are they off the hook as far as a warranty? This is a brand-new building. These guys should have no excuse. The library's a little different. We reused some of the mechanical equipment in there and left some walls up. There's no excuse why this shouldn't be dead on, spot on.
No, I agree 100%. We've been pressing them very hard on this issue, and have been spending a lot of time on it. And the clock started, in essence, when we took substantial completion, which was March 19th, 20th, somewhere around there.
So in a few weeks, we're not gonna need it, then we're not gonna need it till next July, and I don't want you and everyone else running around trying to figure out how to have it fixed and trying to get people in, when they should still be held accountable.
They have been very good in responding to our claims, concerns, and requests. We have not found the answer yet. They did a final tab report again this week, a final balancing, and we're hoping that some good things come out of that. So,
They know we're not gonna let them.
yeah.
I just, we talked about it in the public buildings, but I just wanted,
The mechanical engineer, we've been pressing hard, that they are adamant that it is not a design flaw.
Okay.
That it's something in the mechanical system, something wrong with the balancing, damper work, and things need to get done.
I've really only spent any time in the EOC, so is it elsewhere, or is it
No,
just-
the rest of the building is fine.
All right.
There's a few bathrooms we have an exhaust issue in, that's just, we're improving, and that's the same thing, balancing.
All right,
But the rest of the building is working well.
all right. Okay, good, sorry.
No, that's great, it's a good question. And then the library, the final punch list there, we're about 90% there also, 95%. Again, we're having HVAC issues in that building. Interestingly enough, it's with the newer systems, not with the older systems. In the community room, we have a noise issue. The systems are working.
Anything in there. You can't hear anything when that
Right,
air conditioning goes
but
on.
the unit is modulating for, it's loud when it comes on and off, and there's a volume noise also. We've met several times on potential resolutions to that problem. We're moving a exhaust fan, which will help a lot of the noise, and we're waiting for the mechanical engineer's final recommendation on what to do with the air conditioning system itself.
Are they being as responsive as?
Yes, they have been.
All right.
They have been. They've been very good, actually.
When do you think you'll get that?
Supposed to hear back from them within a week, I believe. And then grounds acceptance there, we're working on. There's some concerns there we're dealing with. The new sign should arrive this week. And the community room AV is all the audiovisual stuff there. And I think some cameras are scheduled to start the end of August.
So that'll be mic'd as well? Will
But-
there- Microphones as well?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yep.
Just for public meeting purposes? Okay.
Great. Widows Walk, some capital repairs we're doing there. We've already done the HVAC replacement at the maintenance building. That failed. Those poor guys went without anything for a few weeks in those early hot weeks, but that's all done now. And we're planning on the clubhouse replacement in the fall, when the building's not as busy. We'll take care of that and get that done before the winter flies.
The HVAC of the
Mhm.
buildings.
Yep, in both buildings. Gates Middle School, as far as taking over and establishing ownership from the school department to the town, the school department is well aware and planning to turn over an empty building to the town. They're working towards that. They've been clearing debris out of the building and moving it into one section, and then things that is debris is being thrown out. Anything valued over $25 is being saved, and we'll be going through the appropriate procurement process for doing that. Particular departments, all departments are been started to go through, some have gone through. When we get everything in one area, more will go through and take things that they may be interested in. and then we're going to have somewhat of a yard sale, for lack of a better term, and then the next step of the public procurement process to get rid of any debris and usable materials that are there.
So
It-
what's our time frame?
So the movers are coming next week, and once they have everything out of there that comes to Newgates, then we will step up getting everything down into one area. We're moving everything into Building C, and then we're looking at mid-September to be done with the whole process. As far as people walking through, posting it for the sale, and posting it for the other things that has to be done.
So we won't take ownership of that until all that's cleaned out, correct? Is that what our goal is?
Well, it's just in the C wing, so it's,
I don't know, is it more than the C wing, all the?
The plan now is to move everything to the C wing, empty the rest of the building.
Because you've got people moving in there.
In the fall, we'll be moving rec in, yes.
Right. So
And what
clear
about-
that
It
out.
becomes ours when the school committee votes it surplus. I've asked the superintendent to do that.
So Rex at Jenkins now, can they stay there as long as they want?
Not as long as they want, but our plan is to move them early, mid-fall.
They will stay there as long as they need to stay there.
So everyone's talking to everybody about the timing of everything.
And
Yes, I met with Rec last week about it.
And one of the reasons I wanted Kevin to talk to the board tonight is he has multiple building issues and we have prioritized them. And so that prioritized list does not have rec issues being addressed until the new school is safely settled and all those other issues. Punch list items are completed in the buildings we have. So, it's a clear expectation, and this question's been asked, that they're in Jenkins until their space is ready in rec. in Gates.
Ready and operable for them
Ready and operable.
to be able to operate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I'll segue right into that. We've already started doing some of the work in Gates for a lot of the accessibility work, the access issues, the door issues, and those types of things. And those things we could get done now, we went in and got done. And then the Assistant Facilities Director, Bob Dillon, is also moving to Gates. He'll probably do that more the end of the summer, right after the school opens. And he's going to move into there also.
And how much of Gates are they taking? for rec?
The A wing.
Okay.
So that's the building to the left, if you look at the building, the gym, and then the office, the nurse's office,
Right there afterwards.
and then go up the ramp in a couple of some of the classrooms.
So nothing on the basement or the first floor, everything on the second?
well, no, below
The
the
level-
gym,
below
below the
the
gym, the locker rooms, they have, that's where they're gonna
Yeah,
set their offices.
that area, and then when you go up the ramp in the classrooms also.
Okay.
They'll be using that for the little people's
We
room.
want them to use as many as the classrooms as possible, because remember, we have to occupy a certain percentage of that building, otherwise it's still going to be classified
Right.
vacant.
It was empty. Okay.
And on the second floor, there's a kitchen set up, and may even
Cooking classes.
go into cooking classes and those types of things. Mara has her eye on that, to do that.
Right?
So, it'd be great. The demolition of the old police station, we're having final coordination meetings now to relocate the police and fire, primary repeaters from the old station to a shed which is vacant and we're taking over underneath the cell tower. And also that will be moving the fiber data link switches for the police server and network connectivity to town hall. So it's actually a lot involved in it, and that will allow the police station to connect to town hall with fiber and all their servers will talk back and forth, and then also the radio link will work appropriately.
Is it the redundant piece of it?
Not all of it. When we get totally into the whole thing, I can't speak to the whole thing, but basically, the antenna that is in the back of the new police station talks to this police station. And the brain of that, for lack of a better term, is inside the old police station. So before we take that down, we have to move that server and that brain of the
The
radio.
server's coming here?
No. The server for the radio antennas is going into the shed.
The other piece is coming in.
The other piece is coming, the network piece. the fiber network town connectivity. Yep.
So what time frame are you talking about, a month?
Yep.
You're still gonna separate, you're gonna abate the hazardous material out of the building first, and then?
That's going to be going on at the same time.
Okay.
So that's the first leg of it, is doing the communication piece, the antenna and the fiber piece for Town Hall. The hazmat survey is done. I'm waiting for the rest of the reports, the final test results, and we have to do one more section, the roof. Should have all those test results next week. Once we have all those results, I'll be able to post the RFP, and then that's 10 to 12 days with that out. We have pre-qualified bidders, have a walkthrough. Then after we do that, it's another couple of weeks to receive the bids, and I'd like to think I can hit the end of September to start demo the building.
Really? Okay.
End of September, beginning of October. Once we start, it should take a month, including abatement. We're doing some of the GC work ourselves, so we're taking care of the utilities, disconnecting the utilities. The line that comes from here over to there, we'll take care of. Removal of other usable things in the building, we've already been doing for a month, and taking things out of there that we can reuse. Smaller things like, regular hardware things, but also small air conditioning systems, cameras, and all those types of pieces of equipment.
When you say "we," who's "we"?
Myself, Dave Biagini, and, there's other people helping, Mike Breen.
The 2 or 3 people and some guys from DPW, or?
Yep.
Do you have enough help?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we're getting it done. It's not going as quick as I'd like. I think a lot of us would have liked to already seen a wrecking ball out there to get the job done, so we could have it done before the school opened. I mean, I would have loved if that had happened, but with opening the 2 other buildings, and there was a lot more time involved with the punch list and getting the kinks out of the new buildings. It just took too much.
Anything of value in there, like historical? A couple of people had mentioned to me, like,
Police station?
you're gonna laugh. You might appreciate this. Someone had asked me about the jail cells, about auctioning them off. I mean, that would be kind of cool in a basement, in a person's house. It would be kind of cool.
You could try to extract
No,
them.
I'm just go in with an open mind, Kim, all right? That's all, all right?
Biting my
You might-
tongue so hard right now.
You might be surprised.
Chief procurement officer has determined there's nothing of value greater than $25 in the building.
Great, then I can have everything in there? All right, awesome. I'll give you $25. All right,
Getting them out might be a challenge.
just an idea. That's
Station 4, capital improvements, is also on our list, in Marshfield, in Hummerock, sorry. We've met with a vendor to pursue options of how we're going to do that, and add a 50-foot apparatus bay, for lack of a better term. And we've decided to talk to people about doing that, and that's on our end of the fall list. The chief and I are going to get that going.
Has that been funded?
Yes?
We have a capital plan now.
I forgot that we voted on that one.
It's $150,000 towards phase 1.
Makes 2 of us.
Really?
We have the room to expand out?
We do.
Never seen
We
a
do.
lot.
There's one piece we need to verify with a septic on the back side of the building, but we do have the room. We're looking at raising it up a foot just because we probably should. And we'll meet all the requirements we have to. But they don't flood there now, but, if we're putting something new, we might as well go up. And,
And the next pumper rotated down there. I mean, you know how it is down there. It's not going to.
we're looking at a steel frame building, similar to
Oh, not brick.
a prefab type steel frame building, but then we will shingle it on the exterior to match what's there. And it will look great. It'll be much better than what's there now as far as fitting the equipment in there. And then town hall renovations for moving departments and department expansion. We're working now to move the existing break room into the back of the treasurer's office. We've moved them up a little, and we're going to move the break room there, and then where the break room is now will become an expansion of the building department, and that will give them more office space, more filing space, and more space for the actual the inspectors, the trade inspectors, to actually work out of. Right now, all the plumbing, electrical, everybody shares the same desk. So give them more space to work. And then the HVAC improvements are ongoing in this building. We ran into a couple of construction issues with the building. We're all installed, we're getting ready for final testing, and that should happen within a week or two, and get that running. And then the reuse of building the day room in the old Station 3. That's not been determined on what that is, but that is also what that is going to be. But that's on our radar also, to make that into something else.
So right now, we're looking at that for Board of Health offices. So we need the Board of Health, we have to accommodate the new director of planning and development. So there's a lot of moving pieces there in terms of that. But in terms of privacy and stuff, the living quarters of Fire Station 3 lend themselves to a nice fit for the Board of Health. And we have an estimate to do that work. Again, I would say 70% of the cost is making the entrance HP accessible and the door frame accessible.
Yeah, door frame and walkway.
Other than that, the changes to the living quarters are nominal.
That's all I have.
Well, it sounds like you got a little bit of free time.
Yeah.
So throw a couple more projects
So
at you.
that, it said selected, so I did the list, so.
So there's more. I was just wondering, over on the field over there, those lights fell down, or one of the lights fell down.
On the high school?
Yeah, on the parking lot, those wooden things. So one of them, there's a stump sticking out of the ground where the one broke, that it's kind of sheared wood that is definitely a safety hazard. And now the lights don't work. So I'm wondering what the plan is to get those fixed and working again, because
I'll find
I know
out.
we're gonna hear from the football.
Yeah, I'm sure we are. I think Mike Breen was down looking at that at the end of last week.
So somehow it'll have to be replaced or fixed or re-hooked up or whatever it is. Right.
Great.
Well, Kevin.
Oh, one more.
He won't come
It
back.
may have been taken care of already. Tricia, watering the Cushing field, we don't need it now because it rained, but are we working on it?
Field water. There's been a temporary accommodation, there's a longer-term issue that needs to be resolved, but right now, it's being allowed
Enough?
to change the watering schedule. from what it was last year.
Okay.
Right, thank you.
Dr. Price?
Ma'am, is there a dollar cost estimate for what the renovations at Gates are gonna cost to get rec in there?
It's around 50-something.
40, yeah.
Yeah, 45, 50,000.
Okay. And secondly, when the building reuse committee, when we were looking at the different buildings, and toward the police station, there were some concerns that there may be some lead contamination down in the firing range down below. Has that been determined whether there is or isn't?
Right, that'll all be taken care of as part of the hazmat study and the abatement.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Karen Canfield, 39 Surfside. Kevin, just a quick question. On the library, are we sure that when the heating comes on, it won't be the same issue?
Karen, you just have to ask through Maura.
Oh, sorry.
You'll learn.
Same question.
Kevin?
Yeah. Let me answer
You don't have to re-say it,
that. The noise, the heavy mechanical noise will not be an issue, because it's the actual air conditioning piece that's making that quick hum, constant hum. The velocity noise that people don't like, coming out of the floor vents, that would be the same, because, you know, it would be providing heat, but it would still be with the same fan. So we're working on that. But that heavy mechanical noise would go away for the heating season.
Thank you. Thank you, Board.
Yes.
I have 3 questions more.
Sure.
Just your name.
Sorry, Andrea Hunt, 66 Manlock Road. One on the schools, I don't know, nothing was mentioned about the elementary schools. And I was up there with the dog the other day and noticing that the woodwork all around Hatherley and Cushing is peeling. It looks like there's some dry rot in the wood trims around the windows. There's rusted air conditioners hanging out of the windows. Is there any budget or any discussion at all into doing some cleanup and spiffing work at those two schools?
So I'm not aware that any projects have come forward. Are you aware that there's anything that the schools are doing right now? Nancy's shaking her head yes.
There was a capital project approved at the April town meeting for the fascia at Cushing and Hadley.
So this is a selected building list for your review tonight. It's not encompassing the 36 capital projects that were approved at town meeting and the 16 CPCs, but to Nancy's point, there was a capital item.
So just to give you sort of a frame of reference, we're, August 8th? None of those funds are released until, July 1st or July 15th? Yeah, so you can't even start to bid out the process till those funds are released, so.
So it'll be next year.
Well, they'll probably start the process. I don't know where they are with it, so.
The
So
school,
we're gonna have to go through a winter with all of that.
I don't
Probably.
know. I hope not, but I don't know. Second?
And the other thing is, the library, I'm understanding that there was an issue with the handicap accessibility laws with the railing going up to the front door. That walkway needed to have some kind of a railing. Is there a plan to get that taken care of?
Do we know? I don't have I haven't been
Disabilities Act.
made aware.
I don't have anything on the railing. There was an issue, there was a question with a handicap parking space and a sign. I'm not recalling anything on a railing, but I can look into it.
We'll take a look at it.
did you move
I'm
that
not aware of
sign?
anything.
Mm-hmm.
Did the van sign just get moved to the other one? And then the fire extinguishers, they
Yep.
just need to be.
Yeah, all those things were addressed.
All those issues you raised at that meeting were taken.
We're done, okay.
Awesome.
There was a woman who was here visiting with her mother, and there was a...
She's in the library building.
Oh.
No
Okay,
railing.
was that was it,
There-
right?
The Disability Act says that you're supposed to have a railing on that entrance, that walkway going up to the door. And somebody raised a question about it on Facebook. They had brought a mother there or something.
Of course they
It was
did.
an issue.
Okay.
Karen might answer that.
Yeah. Karen Canfield, 39 Surfside. I'm also a library trustee. I think that you're referring to the walkway between Central and the library, which is different. The one in the front of the building, I believe everything was signed off of and it was ADA compliant, but I think the reference to was difficulty getting from Central to the front door, which was outside of the scope. It replicated the existing walkway, but it is definitely something that we need to look at. But it's a funny thing because it's not, all of that isn't all library property, and so it was a good thing to be brought up, but it was outside of the scope of the original construction.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
And the third question was for the...
That was 3.
I'm sorry.
That was your third. What's the last one, quickly?
Public safety complex.
Yes.
I know that there has been an issue, because I live on Van Lot Road, with some problems with the septic system. There was septic coming out where the pump was on the road, and I noticed that the pumping people have been there at least 4 times. And I was wondering whether or not anybody has looked at this and whether or not this is being taken care of.
Yes,
Is it a pump issue?
Sure. The sewer issue was a clean-out cover cracked on Manlot Road, right past the entrance. And we replaced that cover. It was a plastic cover. We replaced it with a metal cover, and it should be fine. It's the line that feeds over to the leaching field. Excuse me. And then the pump truck is on the front of the building emptying out a tight tank, which is a tank it's just tied into 3 or 4 different things. The drains in the in the apparatus bay, drains in the mechanical room. We have emptied it more than we'd like, and we're looking at that. The engineers are looking at it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yep.
So the pump trucks aren't for septic, it's for...
No, it's not for
regular
septic, it's for the
operation.
tight tank, and it's from the apparatus bay and mechanical room.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin, thanks for everything you're doing.
Yeah,
Thanks,
You got a
Kevin.
lot on your
My
plate,
pleasure.
Just to say the least. All right, so next is a discussion and vote for the hawker peddler license. Kim Malloy? Malios, I apologize. So Kim, tell us a little bit about your business. I see that you're here to ask us for a peddler license for North Situate.
Well, that's one of the areas that I would like to request to be permission to park in. My name's Kim Malios, 12 Liberty Road, Marshfield, Massachusetts. I own a mobile boutique called Bohemian Babe, Boho to go. So I sell boho chic fashions, jewelry, and accessories from my RV. You can shop in my RV, and depending where I'm going, whether it be a fair, festival, someone's home or business, sometimes I set up outside the RV, meaning right against, I can show you pictures if you like, right against the RV and alongside racks and so forth, tables with some of the items.
Actually, I think I saw your truck at Heritage Days.
You did? Up on Otis Place?
Yes.
That was me. So, it was mentioned when I came to the town hall, a suggestion was the T station in North Situate. And then upon looking at the peddler's license regulation sheet, I was also wondering if possibly the Lighthouse parking lot might be an option, or Peggotty Beach parking lot. I'm not sure if Egypt Beach or Minot Beach parking lot would be a good idea, but especially by the Lighthouse, I thought, because of people going there to walk or look around, and I've seen that there's been, those cars up there sometimes showing off their cars. I'm not sure if there was ever a hot dog stand up at the Lighthouse, but I know I've seen one at Peggotty Beach. So I just wasn't sure if that would be options that I could pursue as well.
I mean, we can discuss it, but I personally think we have beach parking issues as it is,
Mhm.
without any additional retail establishments going into our beach parking lots.
I was thinking, later in the afternoon, like say 4 as people.
It's tough.
Mhm.
I can tell you from my own experience, so.
Do you want a year-round? What are you looking for exactly?
Well, I saw that it was, what is it, April to October, is it? Or is it May to October, the usual license? In the winter, I'm going to pursue doing more, say, pop-ups and maybe private parties, and there's an option of me going to a artisan's loft in the winter, too.
So you want to drive your RV into town parking lots and open up like a little store and sell your clothes?
Well, not every parking lot, but
No, but whatever ones we elect you.
Yes,
That's
yes,
the-
yes. I've gone to, I'm up at I was given permission by Marshfield Town to park at Brant Rock Esplanade in a public spot up there. I go there, say, after 4 o'clock till sunset. I was invited or allowed to park at Green Harbor Lobster Pound in Green Harbor, Mass. That's a business that allows me to park there, so it's kind of like they find it customers find it fun that they go there, they order, they have to wait anyway, and so some ladies kind of enjoy browsing around. And I've done a hair salon, people invite me, I have a woman with a spa that wants me to come do a little event. I'm offering fundraisers if people want to raise money for any cause, whether it be football equipment or cancer or the pet shelter, anything like that. I would park somewhere that I was invited to park, and any sales that day, 10% would be donated to that cause. So I have a lot of
Do you have
different
a
ideas.
picture?
I have some pictures on Facebook I could
Yeah,
show
can I
you.
take a look?
I'm sorry, I forgot to bring my,
I like the food trucks. It's
But
basically
instead
a
of
food
food,
truck
I'm
with
fashion.
clothing.
Yeah, I know. What I'm picturing, I'm like thinking, there's no way. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and look at
Okay.
it.
So this is me today at Grant Rock, so instead of putting things out, I just find stuff up the back of the truck, and then people come inside and look as well, because I have racks inside and jewelry displays and bags, and that's just one picture.
Do we have space in the MBTA lot with the, well, I guess 4 to 7? I mean, how many spaces do you have there now?
So there's
Is that
space
how much we
there,
have?
but I suspect that the playground is going to be very popular.
I know.
The MBTA, it's our parking lot, so really the spaces are there for the town's use as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
I think there's a larger issue here in terms of the increase in hawker peddlers, whether they be for clothing or food or whatever. And the town, I think, needs a bylaw around that rather than to do these on case-by-case basis. I don't recommend that the board approve this. I don't think our beach parking lots are for retail sales. And
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Hot dog was not really, it was a small stand, it wasn't an RV. I think the board, that we as a town need to look at a bylaw and also how that implicates our year-round businesses here before we start to approve these on a case-by-case basis.
It is a smaller RV. It's a 21-foot long by 8-foot wide, so it's not like a huge thing going in.
We have issues now with folks not being able to find parking spaces at any of our beaches. I just had.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
there's
know.
no way,
No
we
way
can't
to
do
go
it at
to
the beach
beaches.
parking
We
lot.
sold
yeah.
1,000 more beach stickers this year than we did last year. Julie sent that to me yesterday. So I think, you know, those are real considerations. I think Lorraine suggested, after we discussed the North Situate parking lot as a potential area, that was within your 350 feet radii, that is part of your policy. So that's a potential option, but we couldn't think of any place else in town that might accommodate the need or the interest.
How would the board feel if she got permission from us or was invited to go to the farmer's market? Did you do this anywhere else besides Marshall?
I messaged the farmer's market, and I just got a response via email that, I could bring up exact wording of it. They just said, the message back was that wouldn't work for us. There was no explanation. And the farmer's market, that was Situate Farmer's Market, and then the Marshfield said you can only sell things that you make, which of course I buy things. I do have some handmade things that I can sign, but I don't make everything on the truck, obviously. But
So tell me, what is your intention? Every night to go to some place and?
well, not every night here. I'm going different towns and
No,
different
no,
places.
that's what I'm
so-
asking. What is your
so
intention?
I just try to scope places that, so I'm going to Pine Hills in Plymouth. There's a fair there, Art in the Green. So I'm part of that Saturday. So I'm just going, I just started 3 weeks ago, so I'm new. So my idea is to just, I like going different places, so my permission to park here in Situate might be once a week, or once every other week, or once every 3 weeks. It just kind of depends on, little by little, I'm trying to build places that I can go to. And if I get invited to a business or to someone's house for a private party or fundraiser, I'm going to go there. If there's a festival that I want
Well,
to
you don't
participate.
need a license to do that, to go to.
No, but I just thought, you know, if I,
License to park on public property,
Right.
not private.
Right,
So I just wanted to
Lowe's Place, for
pursue-
example, was private property.
right.
right, I was, yeah, that used to be mine, not anymore.
So my dilemma is, I like the fact that you're trying to start your own business and make a go of it. I think we have to be leery of where we let you go,
Well, I
because we have
understand.
people that pay rent and pay taxes and all that sort of stuff, which we don't want to intrude on. I personally don't necessarily like the look of the van with clothes hanging all over on it, but that's just me personally. So it would really have to be an area that we designate as a place, because other people are going to want to start doing it. And then all of a sudden, we're going to have school bus, van, school bus selling whatever people are selling, and find the right venue for that in the right place that's set up that way with the time that we want it done. You know, like you're saying, if we said you can do it once every other week, well, that's a lot different than you wanted to do it every day.
Oh, no, I don't want to.
So, I don't know that I can make that decision tonight, but I think those are things we've got to think about. And like Tricia said, there's a 300 or 350-foot circumference that we can't put anyone within
Right.
that area of commercial.
Well, that's what I was thinking, the Lighthouse parking lot, just because, like I said, I've seen the cars up there, and I just sort of thought
Yeah,
that might be
but
kind of.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you want to be in the place where people are, and the
Yes.
place where people are want more parking. So
Right,
there's a kind of catch-22 there.
right.
And then for ice cream and things like that, is it 15 minutes they can only, and then they have
Yeah.
to move?
Yeah.
So how would that work for you? I mean,
Well, that
that's,
doesn't 15 minutes, you know, a couple of hours is good, you know.
Can't move every 15 minutes.
right, no,
So I
but
think
that's
what, it
the-
sounds like we
right.
have a few things to work out. A, to try to identify if there is a space within the town through a policy or a bylaw. So, I mean, Tony, I think brought up a good point. If we grant it to you, we're gonna have others come forward, so I think we need to have our ducks in a row, if you will, with regards to a policy so that we're fair to everybody and that we're also fair to our merchants.
Right, I'm asking places that would be far away from you.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And, you know, and something, we're in flux right now too with the MBTA lot, with the playground under construction there, so there's a lot of activity there. Today, even though you say 4 to 7, there's still a lot of activity there at the end of the day with regards to construction. So I don't necessarily think that's a safe place for you to be. So I think we just need to table this for now, and I mean, it's up to the rest of you, but I think that there's a little bit more discovery that we need to do.
I like Tony, I like the idea, I applaud you for, wanting to do something on your own, and she might have things that the other stores don't have, so the more things, the better, more restaurants, the better.
Well,
But maybe the location, if you could give it some more thought, maybe,
Well,
I think we need to give it.
I can have lots of ideas for
well, I know,
locations, but
but
it's really
like,
good.
I don't think the beaches would work. The few times I've been there, you drive around looking for a spot. It's maybe not the best.
And maybe we work on the farmer's market. I mean, to me, that makes sense because that's where folks go once a
Yeah,
week. and
I
it's
don't
designated,
understand,
so-
there wasn't an explanation why.
Yeah, I don't know
Follow up
either.
with
We can
them.
follow, I would follow up with them
Yeah,
to see.
because I thought that would be like a no-brainer really, but,
I think
you know.
the other thing we have to figure out is if we actually want this in our town. Do we want this type
Well,
of?
I invite you to take a look at it when I'm set up
No,
sometime.
I'm not saying, not for you,
Oh,
but
not-
to create a,
Oh, you're talking
all of a
about-
sudden create a section
A
where we're gonna
space,
have people bringing vans up to sell their stuff. Because that's kind of what the farmer's market is on a one-time-a-week thing, which
Right.
we agreed to, but
Right.
I don't know if we want it every day
Right,
in a certain area of our town, because then all of a sudden, it's next to Sean's house or someone's house, and they don't, whatever. We gotta think about it.
I think we have to take it,
Yeah.
do a little bit more discovery.
so you're not outright saying no, you say you're gonna think about it and look into it more, is that correct?
Yeah, we're not going to approve a license for you tonight,
Right.
is the sense that I get from the rest of the board members here. But we'll take a look at it, for the future to see, again, that we're fair and equitable to everyone, that it's a spot that maybe it's once a week, whatever it is, and that we do develop some sort of a policy to. You're not the only fashion truck out there, as you know.
No, I'm not.
They do come into town, so it does open up Pandora's box.
Do you recall, there were 5 fashion trucks?
Last year, yes, they
Yes.
came for a special event permit.
So that's
That
what
was
they
like a
did?
special event, 1-day permit between, I want to say it was like 10 and 2 or 10 and 4 in a very designated spot. So
Right.
they were part of
Right.
one special event, yes,
Mhm, mhm.
yeah. So, yeah, to your point, it has happened here in the past.
Right,
So
I think for special events, it's fine. I think
Right.
we just have to be leery of a license.
She
Yeah.
wouldn't need our approval for that. If
No.
it was through the chamber or something like that, she'd see those.
Whoever got the license.
Right, right.
Okay.
did you say for me to go through the chamber? or-
Well, like Heritage Days, for
Oh,
example.
right, right,
I mean,
right,
that would have
yeah.
been a perfect,
Well, I was able to park at my.
Oh, yeah, you were there, you're up the street, that's right, too, you
Right.
just said that, right.
So,
But,
but,
things like that.
So check back in with us, well, I think,
Maybe ask again at the Situate Farmers Market to see.
I would try, I would ask them.
That's kind of the venue for
They're not under
this.
our purview, so I
know.
don't have a lot of information for you there,
The
so.
challenge there, a farmer's market for farmers and homemade goods, and that's probably why.
Right, but that's not
Yeah,
even,
but
it's
yeah.
on private property, it has nothing to do with us, right?
Exactly, yeah, it's not under our purview. So I would ask them again, but we'll look into this as well for you.
Okay, all
All
right.
right?
Thank you very
So
much for your
thank
time.
you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
It's a
you.
great
Good luck.
It's a great idea, and good luck with your business.
Thank you.
Okay. So next is the interview for board and committee applicants. I think we have some folks here that have been waiting.
We're right on time.
Yep, thank you. So,
No, it's my fault more than yours.
of course it is. So, is Linda Fulton here? Oh, Linda, can you make it to the,
I can.
okay,
Give me a minute.
okay. Sorry, just so folks can hear you, Linda.
That's okay.
Well, we have to get our books out, so you have time. So Linda is here to apply for the Commission on Disabilities,
Which is 10.
number 10, yes. And we have 4 openings, Commission. So, hi Linda.
Hi.
Thank you. If you would, we have your resume in our packet here, but if you would for the meeting, your name and address, and then also tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in the Commission on Disabilities and what expertise you think you could bring to the committee? and
Sure.
help out?
So Linda Fulton, 23 Alexander Place. I've been all my life resident of Situate for summers and had the great fortune to move back here as a year-round resident 3 years ago. Recently retired, so I'm looking to get involved. I've always done volunteer work, my children's schools, business communities. I recently left a company where I ran a small benefits administration firm. My area of expertise is operations, but I have a lot of experience with getting teams to work collaboratively and making consensus and the ability to move agendas forward and make decisions. As I said, I have a personal interest in the Disability Commission. It affects me personally. I think it's important that we pay attention to accessibility and inclusion issues, and so I think I can contribute in those ways.
Have you done any work in that field in any of your prior jobs?
Other than my personal situation, no.
Attended their meetings, I'm sorry. Have you-
No, I've viewed all of the meetings that are available on YouTube and studied all the agendas, watched a lot of the dynamics going on.
What's your observation?
I think, like I said, I think building consensus and collaboration among some groups is important. It's obvious that people are invested and engaged and really want to, they're passionate about some of the issues, but I think, sometimes in a group that's been in place for a while, you need a little bit of new blood just to turn things over and refresh and
Absolutely.
keep it going.
When do they meet? And are
I'm
you able to?
available, yeah.
Good, all right.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, what's tomorrow, Wednesday?
Looks like
We
every
meet on Wednesdays.
3 weeks or
Yeah,
so.
3 weeks on Wednesdays, and that's not an issue?
Nope.
Okay. We have great experience, and I think, anybody that has terrific managerial experience is such an asset to any committee. And obviously, you have personal experience. Some other members also have personal experience that they bring to the table as well, so it looks like
Yeah, it's a
fit.
great committee. We've got some very strong people. And, you're at that, we live in an old town, right? So there's a lot of things that aren't,
Yes.
they're from the 1700s, so they weren't thinking of that back then. And, it's money, it's all sorts of things come into
Yeah,
play.
it
and
affects
stuff.
really everything that goes on in town,
Yeah,
so.
so we do need a good group that's paying attention to it, that understand the big picture of, what's doable, what's not doable, what can we do quickly, what can we do longer
Yeah,
term.
what do you have to live with, yeah.
Right.
Yep, absolutely.
Right.
Any other additional observations that you wanted to share, or?
Not at this time. I mean, I think
I know we've
I'd
kept you
be
waiting.
remiss to pass judgment or make a lot of calls on something that I
Curious.
am not familiar with yet.
Okay, appreciate that. Any other questions for Linda?
No, nope.
Tony?
No, great resume, and
And thank you.
thank you for
Thanks
applying.
for
So just so you
considering
know
me.
how this works,
Yeah.
we interview everyone, and usually at the back end of the meeting, we make motions for appointments and whatnot, so Lorraine will contact you, or you
Great.
can continue watching, or whatever. We may get to the Commission on Disabilities tonight, we may not, but we certainly thank you for coming forward.
All right, thank you.
So nice to meet you, and thank you for waiting.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, the next one will be for the Coastal Advisory Commission. Is Carolyn DePisa here? Hi, Carolyn. Come on
I
forward.
couldn't remember which one I signed up for. Well, because I didn't that one too, so I'm like, I'm not sure exactly
We can put
what
you
I
on a
was
couple.
here for. Only it's like past my bedtime now, so I'm like.
I know, I apologize.
Hi,
We'll
I'm
yell
Carolyn
later.
DePisa. I live at 65 Surfside Road. My family's been in town since the 50s. I've been a full-time resident since 1985. I owned a small business in town for about 10 years, Sam's Variety, the one on Hadley Road, and I owned also the one, the Mary Lou, which is now Mary Lou's in North Situate. Obviously have a vested interest in the Coastal Commission, considering where we live. I can't say I really have any hands-on experience, other than I'm interested to see what's going to take place. We all know what's going on. The water table is rising. I can tell you from when I grew up on Surfside Road, that we as kids never knew there was the difference between high tide and low tide. And now you live and die by your tide chart, you know what I mean? I also work, so it's like weird, I can go weeks and it's like always high, you know what I mean? So whenever I'm home and it's low tide, I always make a point to go for a run or do whatever. So it's changing. It's changed, and it's astounding the way the beach is just so different from what it was. That being said, that I guess is the reason why on a weak moment one day at work, I was actually going to the town website for something else, and then I saw the little notice, and I thought, oh, you know, you get that pang about, I should probably think about giving back. So I filled out the application and sent it in.
Well, thank you for doing that. And it's nice to have folks who live along the coast. You know, there are some coastal positions on the advisory commission board that are open, you know, for coastal residents. And your perspective and your historical view is exactly the reason why it's written that way. So we have some good perspective there that's present on the board.
When do they meet? I don't even know.
So they try to meet on Tuesday
Okay.
nights, once a month typically. They try to do it on an off Board of Selectmen night. So I know their next meeting, I think, is next Tuesday, because that's an off night for us typically, which is the 15th. So I think that's been posted, so.
And was there another, like, board that was a different name because I just went in front of.
So you're thinking the Coastal Coalition?
Ooh, that may have been that.
So that's a private group.
Okay.
That's composed of different beach associations.
Mm-hmm.
And the Coastal Advisory Commission is public, a part of the Board of Selectmen organization chart.
Okay.
So different purviews, but kind of the same goal. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about the beach commission.
That too, that's an option. Would you be interested in the Beach Commission as well? How many, let's see what's open there, just to give you some options.
Oh, okay, sure.
Because we've had a lot of applicants
I think she
for
put that
both
on her
this
list.
year. How many do we have on Beach
There's only
Commission?
one slot on the beach.
On the Beach Commission? Okay, so it's not that many. I thought there was. Okay. Tony, do you have any questions for Carolyn?
No, I just a sense of what you think you'd like to accomplish. What, you know, I get the sense that you live by the beach and you're concerned about and want to get involved in what's going on there, but what steps do you think?
I think the reason why I'm interested is so that I can understand more how the residents who live by the water and the town can come together cohesively for us to maintain our properties and to be able to, you know, if storms arise and damage is done, to be able to fix them without doing the right things. I think it's more of a communication thing than anything, so that we can so as a resident, I can understand good information as opposed to a lot of incorrect information that you hear from other people that may not know the proper procedures and the proper way to go about getting things done, if you know what I mean.
So do you think that's not being done now?
I think that right now on Surfside, I can only go with what we've kind of been experiencing right now, and particularly who owns the seawall, okay? So this seems to be a big question mark. Who owns the seawall? Since we were there, we were always told, the Army Corps of Engineers put it in, if we never touch that seawall. We own the patio, we maintain our patio, our deck, but the seawalls were not ours. And now all of a sudden, the seawalls need to be repaired. Ours is graded D. I just took photos. I can't tell you, I should have brought them in, they're out in my car. But anyways, the horizontal cracks that are in front of our house right now and in front of the lot that COMCOM owns are horrific.
So I think Kevin's been down there to look at it.
Yeah, and so one of my concerns is, okay, so we have a 100-year storm, we always live through them. What if that seawall goes?
Yep.
What happens? Because now it's not just me, my house, or the water rushes in, rushes through the pond. Now you're talking flooding on Hatherley Road, and then it's gonna go through that marsh. And it's a progressive issue. It's not just a little Surfside Road issue.
No, you're absolutely right, and I would, have you seen the coastal advisory report that was just done, the engineering report that's online?
I have read some of it.
It's very extensive.
Yes, very. It's a little technical, but you know what I mean?
So we're in the process
Yeah.
of doing all that, and that's part of the Coastal Advisory Commission. What they're doing is helping to educate and communicate, to your point,
Mhm.
the priorities and the process in what is taking place with regards to the coastal issues.
Issues. I mean, and I understand it's a huge issue, and it's a huge money issue. I understand all that. I think I want to learn both ways, and then communicate to my neighbors, like, okay, this is the real story, not all the stories that you've heard, through the grapevine, so to speak. So I guess it's a learning process on my part also.
So what do you think should happen to the seawall in front of your house that has the crack in it?
Right now, well, I guess it's, again, comes down to who owns the seawall. Is my responsibility to fix it? So now I have to go to COMCOM, ask permission. Where we are, the only access is Barrier Beach or the opening at Glades. So you're talking to get the work done is going to take a long time because they can only go up and down the beach at low tide, and sometimes it's a...
No matter who does
Very
it.
complicated.
Correct, very complicated. And I assuming it's engineers, and then I heard whether we even move rocks, move the riprap. Right now, the rebar's exposed. There's these huge wires that are just exposed everywhere. I'm talking 2-inch thick. I think it was rebar that was in there at one point. I don't think, at one point we were thinking maybe repositioning the riprap like what they did further down the street last winter. But the rocks once those rocks the edges get worn down, then they're not effective. And so many of those rocks now, even though they've been pulled away from the seawall and need to be replaced, they're not big enough. You know what I mean? You have to have a certain size rock, even, to help that. And I don't know if there is an answer or a easy way, obviously not an easy way to fix it. I can honestly tell you one thing though. I've been living in that house for 15 years, and you're all gonna think I'm crazy, but you get to know the nuances of the waves. Like, I know how my house reacts to certain waves.
Sure.
There's the anger waves, there's the water waves, there's the house shakes when the waves hit lower on the wall because the foundation shakes more. But I'm gonna say it was late spring. And it wasn't even like a storm. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, these waves were like 3s, 2s almost. And our house I felt like we were in an earthquake. Usually the house shakes a little and then it stops, and then you wait for the next set of waves to come. And when you live there, you just get used to it. You become immune to it, believe it or not. But somebody was sleeping over that night, and they were like, "Oh my God!" But anyway, the house shook so much, and it shouldn't have, if you know what I mean. I went out that next morning, and I noticed in our patio, the cracks that were this big now are 4 inches, to the point where now I'm measuring them, the cracks in our patio. And then the next week, I went down on the beach. Because again, a few days later, we had another kind of weird, not even a northeaster or anything. I'm just talking like minimal waves. And that's when I noticed the really big cracks down there.
Well, you certainly have some good experience to share,
It's-
unfortunately.
Yeah, it is what it is, you know.
Carolyn?
No?
I was just gonna make a comment, and you just said it, yeah, and I know of her family, and they've been there for a long time. I don't think we have anyone from North Situate on this commission.
I think you're
like-
right about that. Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
So, by any chance, I was just thinking here, you're not a member of the North Situate Beach Association, are you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because she talked about communication, so there's an outlet that you can communicate with all those people. So, no, thank you.
All right, thank you
Appreciate it.
very much.
Thanks for waiting, and thank you
Not a
for
problem, it was my pleasure.
all your information.
Nice to see you all.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye. Bye-bye. Matthew Sammartino? Did I say that right?
You got it.
Finally. Not getting names right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Matthew Sammartino, 22 Greenfield Lane, applicant for Coastal Advisory Committee. I've been in Situate for 7 years, so I'm a newbie. My grandparents lived Oceanside Drive, 56 Oceanside Drive, for over 40 years. So obviously experienced firsthand the impact. My parents now, they live in Glades Road in the Minot area. Not saying that, you know, that would play into my perspective on the committee, but just figured I'd put it out there. I currently help run a family business. We have around 300 employees. A couple of the businesses are Boston Bowl Hanover, Phillips Candy House, which is a small chocolate manufacturer. We also have a couple. You like the candy?
Very good.
Next time I'll bring some in.
Should have brought
Should have brought this
I
time.
know.
Just kidding.
I'm not.
It was Tuesday's my day off, so I wasn't in today.
Just kidding.
No, I know. So obviously, I'm a business person. I've been working for 9 years for that company. You know, in college, it kind of came about as an extracurricular course. You know, you have certain courses that you can take on your own, and mine was it started with biology, and then it kind of drifted into natural sciences. And you know, my love for the ocean kind of pushed me into those fields, and obviously, you know, to make a living and actually make money, I kind of had to focus on business too. So that's why I kind of described it as an interest and a passion. I'm also a sailor, and you know, you live by the weather. It's funny, as you know, I was thinking about the committee and my own perspective on the coastal issue we face. And if you asked me 8 years ago, right out of college, you know, is this a human impact thing? Are we accelerating things? My answer would be definitely yes. Now it's more, my position is, it's happening. Are we accelerating things? And that answer is possibly. I mean, the scientific evidence says is pretty, you know, indicative of what's really happening.
Who's we? Just humans?
Humans, yeah, correct. So, I mean, you could look at multiple ways of carbon dioxide getting into the atmosphere, but, you know, it could be humans, it could be livestock, but it's humans. And I think that for our purposes here is, you know, sea level is rising, so we have to make accommodations to either abate that sea level or come up with, you know, better long-term plans to address the issue. I mean, there's a reason why Situate's on the news every time there's a storm, because people are looking for that shot of destruction and flooding. You know, and I think that as a business person, you know, every day you deal with limited resources to accomplish a goal, and I don't think this is, you know, very much different. You have certain grants from the federal government, but you also have town resources too that are at play, and you have to use those to your advantage to protect life and property.
Great.
So what's your take on Mr. Pease's wall?
Who's this?
The woman that was right here before you has a crack in her wall.
Well, I think as an advisory member, I think you have resources at your, at just, not disposal, but I mean, you have resources where, whether it's a study or the town commissions a separate study to look at what can be done and what should be done. And that, can be brought to the voters for their opinions as well. But I think the biggest thing for me is, the answer shouldn't be, it's a wall and it should be bigger. I mean, I think there's so many other options. I also attend meetings for Morrissey Boulevard redesign. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's partially funded. But I mean, that's essentially addressing the concerns of flooding, constant flooding, and below sea level roadway.
What's your role on that committee? That would be interesting perspective.
Well, it's not. I'm not on the committee. No, I just attend the
Oh, you
meetings.
attend the meetings.
Yeah, because we're impacted directly
Right.
for the business.
Right.
And I think for that specifically, that it's moving towards a living shoreline. Obviously, raising some of the roadway as well, but I think letting people know that there are other options to just building walls. And I mean, obviously, some parts of Situate you're limited because we've built so close to the ocean. But
Matt, what's your first choice? You put beach commission as well as waterways, is in that order?
no, I think after I looked at it, I think it's probably coastal advisory and waterways.
Have you had a chance to view any of the meetings, attend any?
I have
Okay.
not attended, no.
Okay, and
but
the
I've
schedules
viewed
will
some.
work. I don't know about this group you guys just said when they met, off Tuesday nights?
Usually off Tuesdays,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah.
And Waterways is typically once a month,
Yep.
so.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 2 young kids, but as long as it's not, what time is it now? 9 o'clock?
Right.
As long as it's not 9, I'm good.
There are requirements for, we try and get a diverse group
Sure.
on this committee. Do you fall into any of the,
It would be inland.
yeah?
So we're going to be looking at the language of the mission too. Is that on tonight?
Yes.
So we're going to be looking at that so we can have some flexibility when each of those requirements are fulfilled, so we'll have more flexibility with that,
Yeah.
if you so approve it.
But sometimes, like Sean asked, if you're a member of like a business, or if you're, there's other ways to get
Right.
onto the committee that aren't a generic one, like an inland
Yep.
Right.
resident.
You
Voting,
could also be considered voting, because
Voting.
it's a sailor.
yes.
You'd have to pass the test,
I was
but
thinking about that.
No problem.
Yep.
Been to Bermuda. We made it.
you passed.
By himself.
Yeah.
No. Provincetown. That was all.
So you have great experience, and again, I think we
Interesting.
have a lot of great business people on the committee, and it's nice to have someone with your perspective on there, so
Great.
I think it's great that you came forward. So hopefully we can, I think we're gonna end up having like 3 positions to fill, so,
And not voting all of them tonight?
no, I
All
don't
right,
think so.
okay.
I have some
Just to-
questions about who's up for, who wants to renew and who doesn't, because I don't know that you have all that information yet.
Right.
I do not.
Yeah, so we have a couple of things to follow
And
up
some of these
on
people
with
are on
that
other
committee.
committees too.
Exactly, yeah, yep. But I think a great candidate.
Okay, great. Thank
So
you.
we thank you for coming forward.
Absolutely. Thanks.
And,
Thanks,
we'll
Matt.
be in touch.
All right, great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Matt.
much. Have a
Forgive
great
me for
night.
leaving early.
Thanks so much. And that's it for tonight, right?
Anyone else? Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's your name?
Nancy Chapman?
Oh, Nancy, I apologize. Come on
Please let
forward.
me come up.
Yes, no, absolutely. I didn't
She
have.
actually is on here for the Council on Aging on the second page.
Oh,
Oh, I
okay.
didn't get that.
No,
Perfect.
this is us.
This is us, not you. It's our organization.
Just to let you know.
So I apologize. I did not see you. So
Okay.
welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us a
Hold
little
on,
bit about
let
yourself.
us just find it. Where is it?
Number
Oh, right there.
we'll do
There it is,
14,
page 2.
Council on Aging. Yeah. Nancy, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. So my name is Nancy Chapman. I live at 83 Aberdeen Drive. And I I did not know that I was here for the Council on Aging position. I interviewed for that position, I think it was 3 weeks ago at this meeting, and I understand at that time there were several other interviews as well, and the board asked me at that time, based upon my resume and our discussion, if I would consider either the Affordable Housing Trust or possibly the Commission on Disabilities, and I said that I would. So I actually assumed that I was here tonight to talk about one of those two committees, which I'd like to do for a minute, if that's all right, because I've done a lot of...
I think there are more positions open on the other two than Council on Aging, so that's a good idea.
I think that may be correct.
Okay.
So I have done a lot of thinking about the three different boards, and I think that in the event that you choose another candidate for the Council on Aging position, my first choice then would be the Affordable Housing Trust.
Okay, great.
And I'll tell you why. I am a long-term Situate resident, first of all. I think I've lived here on and off for approximately 40 years. So I have a lot of history with the town, I have a lot of memories with the town, and a lot of devotion to the town. I love this town, and I would very much like to serve in some capacity. My work experience is primarily in the public housing, low-income housing, affordable housing realm, probably 12-plus years altogether. On two coasts, but primarily in Massachusetts, in the Boston area. About half of that time has been spent as a property manager for public housing, and the other half, which is what I do currently in affordable housing, is on the resident services, which is somewhat like social services or supportive services aspect. I currently work with seniors and persons with disabilities, providing social services, referrals, and resources as needed. During all of the time that I've worked in the public housing, affordable housing realm, I can tell you that one thing I have seen consistently is that there's not enough of it. We have waiting lists across the country that are years long for families, seniors, and people with disabilities. So in thinking about this really carefully, as I said, I assumed that the Council on Aging position may have even been appointed already. I think that I would be very interested in being a member of the Affordable Housing Trust Committee. I would like to see more affordable housing in this town, and I'd like to be a part of that.
Right.
Thank you, that's great.
So just to clarify, we haven't appointed that yet.
Okay.
So because I have your name down and marked there and I have notes for that, which of those two, which one would you prefer to be on?
Oh, that's so hard. There
are more openings on the Commission on Disabilities, so there's 4 openings there as well, so.
Are you trying to sway her opinion?
No, I'm just trying to, we have so many great volunteers that have come forward this year, that if we can at least let her know that there's an option there, that in order to appease several great candidates, we may need to shift a little bit, that's all.
I appreciate that. I think I had done a little research online, downloading minutes of meetings and agendas and so forth, and I did speak with an individual on the Affordable Housing Trust Committee too. I think that of the 3, I feel least qualified for the Commission on Disabilities. Isn't to say that I don't think I could make a difference and hopefully a positive impact as a member of that commission, but I don't know that that's where my strength would be. Because of the years that I have worked with seniors in affordable housing, that was what initially drew me to apply for the Council on Aging position. I still think that that would be a good fit for me. But having recently researched the Affordable Housing Trust, I have to say that I'm drawn to that as well.
Great, perfect.
Did she say which one she wants?
I think the Affordable Housing Trust is what I heard.
So that's the one. And then 2.
Sean, do you have any questions for Nancy?
No.
I thank you for coming back in.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
apologize
So
that
flexible.
you thought you had to come back in, so,
Right, and
but
I
it's
thought
great
you
to
were-
know and clarify what your preferences are.
Right, and I think you were a very strong candidate for
Yeah.
Council on Aging as well. So,
Oh, thank you.
so
Thank you.
I hope we can find a place for you.
Well, thank you. I look forward to hearing from you.
Great.
We will find a place for her.
Yeah, we will. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for waiting.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, next, Sean McCarthy, DPW engineer, right, that's it, right, with committees, and, right, Lorraine, nobody else is here? Okay, just want to make sure I don't do that again.
That's right.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board.
How are you this evening?
Try to keep these straight. I know there's a lot of items on the agenda this evening for the DPW, covering really all the departments within the DPW. Start with the purchase of the above-ground diesel storage tank at the Highway Department. The funds for this was approved at the annual town meeting. This will replace the existing 4,000-gallon diesel tank located at the Highway Department. This is used by fire, some of the police vehicles, DPW, and the school buses as well.
Is the old one rotten?
It is, yeah. And we're also increasing the size of it from 4 to 8. It'll be a double-walled steel tank. And we're piggybacking on a RFP that was issued by Mass DOT that allows municipalities to jump on their state contract.
Okay. Do you know what we approved?
Northeast Petroleum. Yes, there were 2 articles. You have here one for $29,773 and the following article of $35,000.
Okay, motion?
Yes.
Let me, before you
Sean,
make
do
a
you have any
motion.
questions?
Well, I'm going to abstain because I do business with these people, but, I will just let, just say a couple of things. We're going from a 4,000 to a
Wait a minute.
10,000.
You either have to abstain or you have to,
Well, it's just an,
I don't think you have to abstain.
well, I do business with this Jerry Mello, I know him quite well. So, going from a larger tank to get much better pricing. The tank is much older. What would some of the other bids, Sean?
I don't
Was he
think
the
Mike
only
Reese,
one?
because
Oh,
he's on
just went with the state
he's on
bid
the state bid list
Right.
already. Yep.
Okay, and just, this is what these people do all the time, so.
We
It's coming
appropriate.
in at 61,000?
Yeah, and we appropriated
approved
64, yeah,
Okay.
773.
But you think it's a good idea, Sean, to get the bigger?
Yes, yeah.
I don't think you can abstain, because we only have 3
Yeah.
people.
Did you notice me sort of
That's
put
what I'm
it
wondering,
here?
too.
All right, well, yeah, no, it's, it's up to me, so that's fine, as long as,
I think under the rule of necessity, you have to vote.
yeah, no, that's fine.
2 votes is, and an abstention
I didn't
is
even
not
think of
out.
that, it's getting so kind of late. That's fine, yep.
Yeah. Note for the record, Lorraine, that Selectman Harris preferred to abstain under the rule of necessity. With Selectman Dunnedy's absence, he voted.
Okay, motion?
Move the Board of Selectmen award the contract to replace the existing above-ground diesel storage tank and associated equipment located at the Situate Highway Department to Northeast Petroleum Service and Supply, Inc., for a total of $61,326.34.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
Great, thank you.
Next?
Onto the salt contract. Again, a state contracted price with Eastern Salt to supply us with the salt used on the roadways during the wintertime. It has dropped $1.33 this year a ton.
That's good.
Yep, from last year. Last year, we paid $66.31.
and it's just a standard price per
$64.98. If we do purchase some early, prior to November, they'll take another $1 off. So we're gonna
But
start
you lock this price in, right?
for the year. Yeah, yep.
Motion? Move the Board of Selectmen vote to award the contract to purchase road salt from Eastern Salt Company of Lowell, Massachusetts, for $64.98 per ton.
I'll second, but can I just, for discussion?
Yes.
If we go the other way and we have a real tough winter, they have the material, they'll ship it in, so they're locked in. Are we locked into 100 tons or X amount of tons?
No.
It's just as needed per ton.
Yep. So we'll fill up that shed at the discounted price.
If we
as
so
quick
choose,
as
that
we
was my
could. Right,
question.
yeah.
You answered my question before I asked it, if we should fill it, because I know it's somewhat low now. So, all right, well, that was, thanks.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. All opposed? Nobody's opposed. Okay.
Okay, the annual gasoline and diesel contract. Dennis K. Burke wanted again, this is a statewide contract as well. The diesel price remained the same, and gasoline increased .007 cents, if that's how far out they go per gallon.
I don't see the rates. Oh, no, there it is, down there. Right? No, that's potassium.
No.
Oh, hydroxide, yeah.
We just have
Price
the
per
motion.
gallon. Just keep in mind, when you do see the price per gallon, it doesn't include, we are not subject to state tax. So it's not like you can say, oh, that's a great price. It's like 20 some odd cents a
As
gallon.
a federal.
Right,
Yep.
well, feds were on the hook for, state we wouldn't, so.
So it's 20 cents cheaper than you and I pay?
Thereabouts, 20, diesel's 20, but gasoline might be a little different.
Do you have the rates there, Sean?
I have them without their additional tax, federal.
Is it-
This is, and then they also have the difference between a full truckload and a partial truckload delivery.
How much is a truckload, Sean?
Of gas or diesel? Gasoline, you can get up to 12.8 on gasoline.
In the tankers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
diesel's a little
But we only
less.
have 8,000.
But as long as you get we're getting a 10,000 gallon tank or an 8.
8.
All right.
Once you get to 10, you trip all sorts of different state fire permits and preventative measures, and it's a different
So we're
ballgame.
never going to get the full tank rate.
No, I don't believe so. Yeah, we got nowhere to put it. If they leave the yard full, which I imagine they do,
Well,
from
no,
Quincy or wherever.
The orders come in and they're gonna, pre-order before they're not gonna just come and fill it and dump
That's
it
right.
until it's filled.
That's right.
So it's pre-ordered, one stop or split stop.
On their way.
Is this is it a flat rate or is it a margin over rack, Sean? Do you know? Does the price go up and down as the consumer price
I
index
think
goes
it
up?
does go to a daily pricing index. I don't know how that
So-
locks in for the year, right?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's gonna float,
Okay.
all right? It's not locked
So
in,
it's like
so.
10
But
cents
we're-
over prime or whatever.
If that, Tony, it's pennies. These, especially with Dennis K. Burke, they're the big player, so it's pennies.
Is this a state contract or is this
State,
state.
second year in a row, right.
one motion?
And we have a not to exceed. Any further discussion, Sean?
Just the same thing, Lorraine. If I could, I would abstain, but I won't.
All right, so you have to note that same reason.
Right. What Tricia said.
Yeah.
Sounded good.
Yeah.
Move to award a contract for the purchase of gasoline pursuant to state contract ENE 41 and ultra-low sulfur diesel pursuant to state contract ENE 40 to Dennis K. Burke of 284 Eastern Ave, Chelsea, Mass. For the period of August 1st, 2017 through July 31st, 2018, for a total sum not to exceed $400,000.
Second.
Second by Mr. Harris. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Well, just all right, but this, oh, no, he said diesel and gas. Yep, that's fine. Great.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, next one, the
Great.
potassium hydroxide.
Thank you. Yes, this is used at the water treatment plant. An annual bid process is put out by the Southeastern, or the Massachusetts Chemical Cooperative. So a lot of local towns in the area jump on these same prices. It's delivered to the water plant also. They have variations. I do not know what they get for deliveries. I'm going to say it's under 3,000 gallons for that tank at the plant. But I can't be sure on that in terms of the value of the pricing for the delivery.
So you have that covered here with both prices.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did it go up or?
It dropped .37 cents. Yeah, out 4 places.
All right, motion?
Will the Board of Selectmen award the contract to supply potassium hydroxide 45% to the Situate Water Treatment Plant at a unit price of $2.7411 per gallon for bulk deliveries over 3,000 gallons, and a unit price of $3.0343 per gallon for deliveries less than 3,000 gallons, as outlined in the Eastern Massachusetts Chemical Cooperative to Borden and Remington Corp., not to exceed $100,000.
Second?
Second by Mr. Vignani. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 3-0, approved.
Great, thank you.
Then you have the Cedar Point infiltration contract, Sean?
Yes, this is for the design of a low-pressure sewer system out at Cedar Point, Lighthouse Point, I'm sorry. This was brought to the last April town meeting, and $2.5 million was awarded to the design and construction of a low-pressure sewer system out at Lighthouse Point. The system that's out there now is constructed very deep, 15 and 16 feet, and of clay pipe. Efforts have been made in the past to try to reduce the infiltration out there, and we had a metering analysis done last spring throughout town at key points, key sewer manholes in town during heavy rains, dry periods, and during tide cycles as well. And this area is showing approximately a 40,000 gallon per day infiltration or inflow into the system out there. If we can get that out, get clean water out of the treatment plant, using some basic sewer design calculations, that's 100 four-bedroom houses is what that equates to in removal.
And this particular contract is just for the design?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and you bid
Yep.
it out, and you got 3 responses?
Yeah, we send it out to 6 engineering firms who we've used in the past. We're comfortable with Western and Sampson. They completed the water main replacement project out there, and 5 or 6 years ago, the Musquashkett Pond area, which also involved E1 and low-pressure sewer systems within that contract as well, and that was successfully completed. So we're comfortable with them in the design of this project.
That was a pretty good change order, though. I do remember around Musquashkett Pond area.
For Weston and Sampson, or for the
Well, maybe Weston Sampson should have
the
found
pavement?
it. That's right.
Is that
So-
the part I read? I had just started here when that happened.
Right, so, you know, I don't think that's the case here. Lighthouse Road and Rebecca Road have been dug up so much, and I don't think that'll be the case. So you answered one of my questions, so we had just, I thought we did this 10, 15 years ago, but I guess maybe it was water, but
Water we did
just
as
recently.
recent as 3 or 4 years ago.
How old is this
That
sewer
loop-
line then?
60s.
Okay, so when we do this, so we're gonna run a sewer line all the way out and around the point and come back?
Come back to Jericho, where it would
Okay.
hit a gravity manhole.
All right,
Yeah.
so we don't have to dig it up anymore?
Right.
Storm drainage, can we look at everything? You know, the water obviously is brand new, but this is it for them, so.
Right, yeah.
'Cause
So we'd
what I
repave this
hear a lot,
road,
and I'm sure
curb to
everyone
curb.
else hears it, you're digging up, all right,
A
thank you.
new road, yep.
So, yeah, and let's not dig it up next summer. All right, and I know this is engineering, but let's avoid Memorial Day to Labor Day, if we
When we
could.
did the water line, we avoided, I'm trying to think, I mean, the neighbors, the residents down there were really cooperative.
In fact, there was a sewer break on July 3rd, if I recall, so it
It was like
was,
last year.
it went on
With the water?
Yeah.
in summer. This will be shallower,
Okay, good,
Um,
faster.
So faster?
I hope so. And I'm not sure where it'll be
Just leave the
located,
old one?
maybe even yeah, it'll be abandoned in place. Maybe we can utilize some of the manholes for maybe valve boxes, fill the bottom, and bring this whole system up. Each home will need a pump.
We'll need a bump.
Yeah, the E1s are the ones
we
we're
pay
going to
for it?
recommend. When they did the Musquashkett And I don't know how they did it. They were purchased for $1.
Part of the betterment.
So I need to revisit how they arrived at that.
Do we do a betterment on this?
Yes, well, I don't know about this one.
That
but
one was.
the Squash it we did like every
Yeah.
other. So,
Right.
you know.
So, but we got a capital item for $2 million on this one.
Right.
I wonder if this would include, this would
The pumps
include
as
that.
well.
Right. Is it gravity now, Sean?
Yes.
So they don't have to pay for the new sewer system out there?
Not those individuals if it's a capital, right?
Right.
I'll have to look at the original language of the Warren article, but my guess is probably not. I don't think it had any language in that. Good question.
Yeah. If we could look into that, it doesn't seem, we'll have to figure it out.
How many users is it affecting, Sean, do you know?
Probably 50 houses out there, right?
Oh,
Maybe
would
a
double. Yeah.
100?
Even more.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Believe it or not.
Just
yeah.
on that loop?
Yeah.
But
There's quite a
again,
few. There's-
the original sewer would have had a betterment. This is a sewer replacement, so I don't think a betterment's come into play. This is just scheduled maintenance, scheduled extraordinary capital. They paid the betterment when the original sewer went
Originally.
in. They're done.
I don't know about in the 60s if there were betterments then, though. I don't know.
I think a lot of the,
But it's, what is huge is, I'm sorry, did I just
No,
jump
no,
in
no,
front
no,
of you?
no.
But what is huge is, we have to promote the INI.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's the
2,000
benefit.
gallons a
That's
day is
right.
crazy.
But you gave us the number of houses, turn that into dollars.
There's a lot of different ways to account for those. You are going to get a little bit of infiltration, even when they do the new designs. There's buffers for that kind of thing. And
No, I'm saying, but if you didn't say you can put an extra 100 houses on, but you said you're gonna save $5,000 a day. you know,
Yeah.
The investment.
Yeah,
is all.
yeah, almost 40,000 gallons a day.
All right, you want a motion?
Yep, please.
If you hand me that candy jar, Sean, I'll make a motion.
all right, I can't reach it, don't I?
Move the Board of Selectmen award the contract to Weston and Sampson for the design of the sewer system at Cedar Point.
Second.
Second by Mr. Harris. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? 3-0 in favor. Okay, let's see. You.
Phase
We
two?
have the SCADA in front of us, the SCADA system. Is that what you have in front of you?
I do, yes. This is Phase 2. This was an RFP that was put out, I believe, 2 years ago. Last year, we appropriated the funds for the, I don't want to call them computers, but they were computers and updated software, and some of the beginning levels of the SCADA upgrade. I guess to put this in to understandable terms, if we look at SCADA as the brain, all these replacement LCPs are the nerves. So they've prioritized them into replacing LCP3 and LCP4, which are in 2 other buildings at the wastewater treatment plant. The software or the components that are currently in the system won't be manageable at the end of 2017. It's just like your computer. You can call Dell for so many years, and then they stop providing service for the operating system you had 5 years ago, so you have to upgrade. So this is the way it's heading. There won't be support or replacement for some of these parts. Ultimately, what this whole SCADA phasing is to allow not just a dummy light to go off in an alarm, but actually telling them what the problem is, and in most cases, being able to react to that alarm from a tablet, and then going to the plant to confirm. But you can start
That's great.
rectifying the situation from remotely.
Isn't that the machine when we went in that main building on the left that had like floppy disks like 5 years ago? Literally, they had.
In the main office? Yeah, now,
Literally had the 5.25-inch floppy disks.
Yeah, right.
All
All right.
Move the Board of Selectmen award the contract to Weston and Sampson for the wastewater treatment plant SCADA upgrades for $187,500.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Harris. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? 3-0 in favor. Okay, let's see, Sean, was the last one here, I think, right?
yeah, Kevin had mentioned this a couple months back, talking about, do you have the moratorium fee in
Yes,
front of you for,
moratorium, yep.
for the roadway fee? And he just wanted to bring that back up, if there was any consideration to increasing the moratorium fee. I was starting,
Well, I had mentioned it to Kevin, and I, still support it, like to talk about it with everyone. It's just trying to, it's not that you want to hit a homeowner, in their pocketbook, double it from $5,000 to $10,000, but you just really want to make people think to do something before a street might be paved, if they, are aware of it. And it's discouraging to see, our roads get resurfaced and then dug up. Now, there are, like if in front of the tax collector's office or the new duplex building there on First Parish Road, and I brought it to Kevin's attention, that was a water connection, that services that new house. And that was done the way all our trenches in this town should be done. And they use what they call flowable fill, and it's just, after it's done, there's no settling, that's it. And the patch it's difficult to feel as you drive over with your car. So, just an attempt to keep our roads, the ones that are resurfaced, it just takes so long, and, it's very expensive to do. So this is what I suggest to Kevin is, maybe we increase this, and, there are ways, we heard from an engineer that, they can bore under a street, and run a pipe under a street without disturbing the asphalt. I don't know what that costs. It's probably, quite expensive, but it can be done. We're gonna do it out on 3A when we connect 123 to with the water line there.
I just met with Mass DOT on that today, and they were ecstatic at the idea. They're seeing it more and more.
Right. We're gonna tunnel under 3A with, the water line. And I'll let you, yeah, right.
To get it over to Country Way, we have to go either Old Oaken Bucket, 3A to Country Way. Or we're now looking at going from Old Oaken Bucket under the roadway and coming out by the former dentist's, eye doctor's office, over in that grass patch there.
So how often do we see contractors open up the street after we've just paved it? Does it happen frequently?
They are getting better. We work with the gas company a year ahead. We let them know so that if they have high-priority areas, they know the pipes are in poor shape there, they prioritize and get out there first.
So they'll do that on Lighthouse Point, if they need to.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And that was another thing, now that you mentioned, the gas company used to come before us every time they were gonna do a project in town. I haven't seen them in 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
And not that we could say no to them anyway, because they can just say it's an emergency, we have to do it. But it would be nice to hear about it.
Yeah, you must have read my mind, because I felt the same way about possibly changing the backfill procedures to requiring flowable fill, and if it's a new road, even going as far as Infrared, the final trench.
I like that.
Just to
Well,
get it back.
not to get, it's getting late now, but
Yep.
when you're doing something as like 123, you're going parallel with the road, that's, that might be one thing, but still you could put it in your spec, but we're gonna end up paying for it in the long run. But when you're doing a perpendicular trench, across the street, that, should be
Get that settlement. Yep.
mandatory. But this here is, just trying to discourage, that from happening within 5 years, Isn't it 5 years is now, 5
Yes.
years, 5,000?
Yep.
So I thought,
And it was just for discussion, we don't need to decide on a vote tonight, I know
Have
Kevin
we
just
charged anybody
wanted to
that in the
bring it.
last
5,000 last week?
week?
Really?
So how often does it occur in a year?
Somebody wants to do First Parish over by you? It's usually a new home,
yes, right. Like they
new
did.
home builder, Hadley Road. This one happens to be off of Ingrid,
So they want
Off
to
of
just
Hathaway.
get water?
or gas.
Or
This
gas?
one happened to be gas.
Yes,
So they only open up a very small piece of it, right?
but still,
Yeah.
it's,
Never gets back.
boom,
Yeah.
it's a trench that, probably 18 inches wide, Tony,
Half a dozen a year, maybe.
Really? I didn't know it happened
Yeah.
often.
150 permits a year. 125 of them are gas.
Right. So you have to do it if it's been repaved. And we're repaving so many now because of the water lines.
Right. Yep, and those get accelerated too when I see them come in. I send them right back by email and say, you got 3 weeks. I don't know when they're gonna start repaving. I know it's 2 months out, but I'm not taking that
So
chance that
basically, we're
we
asking
rush them.
to, just so I understand completely, we're asking to increase that fee that we charge a contractor that wants to come in.
Or
between that
homeowner, I'm
5-year
assuming they,
In the midst of that 5-year moratorium.
Right, and they would, would be passed on. So I don't feel so bad for a new home because, that could be built into the sale of the
P&S,
home,
yeah.
right? Yeah, it's an expense, but they have to realize, so they go to the town. So, yes, so just increasing the price, not so
Yes.
much.
Keith Waller, Turner Country Way. Is it okay if I ask Sean a question?
You can ask me and he'll hear you.
You just said that there's a way to do the town now where it doesn't settle. Is it cost a lot more? And is it something we can start doing on all the different roads so we don't have to wait the year?
It's, if you saw the operation on First Parish Road, cement trucks came. And I don't really know a lot about it, but it doesn't have stone, and it doesn't set up like concrete. It sets up like maybe clay on the beach. When you're a kid, you dig clay. Kevin didn't like it when I ran it by him, because he thought it turned into concrete, but I've talked to other people who said, no, that's really not the case. You can dig through it. So that's what you saw, and I knew what was going on when I saw the trucks there, and I just, so since then, I had driven over that trench, and it's wonderful,
oh yeah, that
And how much
one
more
at 93.
expensive is it,
Yeah.
Sean? Did you have an
I
idea?
don't. I've
We
heard
can find
two
out.
different sides for a typical water trench across the street. To one contractor, it was worth him to spend the extra money, because if it started to settle, he was gonna get a phone call from me and have to come
Right.
Do it again.
repair
Do it
it.
again.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he wanted to do it once.
Well,
The
maybe-
only, no, I'm sorry, go
Well,
ahead.
maybe we don't increase the fee, but we say you have to fill it that way.
Maybe we
Could do
change
that.
the standard.
Yeah.
The downside is you can't fill it to the top and drive over it. That day you have to plate it for the night, because it has to set up and then you come back the next day and pave, so.
That's typically,
It is, yep.
okay.
Does that answer?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sure.
So,
Do you want to think about
do
it?
you want to think about that?
Sure, yeah, this is not something we have to do tonight. Let's
Nope.
get John's opinion, see what
All
he
right.
thinks, a couple
And
of
see if
weeks.
maybe
and
that's another
just-
solution,
yeah.
is to
Yeah,
have
I
them
think
come
it's a-
back and use
Change
that
the
other,
standard,
that other standard.
the backfill standard,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Just a thought.
All right, and then the
Great.
last one I think you have is the Kent Street bike lanes?
Yeah, if you wanted to. I'm starting to look into it a little further. With the new pavement on Kent Street, Kevin wanted to try to introduce bike lanes. We are talking about it with our VHB consultant, who's looking at our Phase 2 of the Complete Streets program
Okay.
that we're involved in. And whereas this street needed to be restriped, he wanted to introduce it.
Is it wide enough? What's the opinion?
It is. There's a little detail up in the top right, I don't know if
Oh, yeah,
that's
there it
on
is.
the...
Yes, it is, you're right.
And that is really the same width that the lanes were before it was paved, ground and paved, believe it or not.
Is that over to the right, is that the sidewalk granite, or is that extra space So you have the 4,
and then a foot, and, right, that would be a fog line.
okay, oh, good, okay.
Yep.
I'm a big fog line advocate, just so you know.
So the sidewalk is on the other side of that 4 feet?
Yes.
Yes, that would be a 1 foot to edge of pavement, or curb, or I know it switches from, a lot of it's Cape Cod berm, which is flatter, till you get up by Meeting House and Greenfield, I think it's a vertical curb.
Are you looking for us to vote on this tonight? I mean,
No, it was
I personally think it's a great idea.
discussion, because Mike's dying to get out there and stripe
And do
it.
it, I know, and it needs
And Kevin
to
said,
be-
hang on, let's.
What are your thoughts?
Well, that's great until you get to St. Mary's.
That was my concern, you have to terminate it.
Can you bring it in?
Well, that's what we'd have to do at
We
the
don't wanna take away the
wastewater
parking.
treatment plant, too. And I'm starting to see this more and more in other towns, because they're not all set up for this, so they have to end. And they just end, unfortunately. There is parking allowed at St. Mary's on both sides.
Right.
I did check the regulations on that, so
And I don't think any of us are, well, I'm not interested in taking that away.
I wouldn't go down that trail.
Yeah.
So there's a little more to look at, I think, the terminus. I mean, it'd be nice to bring it to
Yeah, can you
the
let us know how that looks? You know, how it
MBTA, yeah, it's down Colony Place.
Stop at like the road that goes up to
And would we be
Jenkins.
required to have signage to say that the bike lane is ending?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
I've
mean,
seen
there's
it
a
in other
sidewalk.
towns that way.
Bikes don't have sidewalks.
Bikes don't go
The
on
multi-use
bike
trail there,
Thank
too.
you, yeah. Any other questions about the painting on the?
No.
Sean, anything else for us?
Oh, I hope not. I think that's it.
You don't want to stay here later? Come on.
I didn't miss anything. Thank you for,
Okay, well, thank
Um,
you for standing
went
in.
through all
Kevin
these.
Johnson's
Oh.
and-
yep,
Appreciate it.
sure
Thanks,
thing.
Sean.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Sean.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to old business. Hopefully we can get through this tonight. Discussion and vote for a change to the Sister City Sucy-en-Brie Committee charge. I went through it and read it. It looks to me that the biggest change is just changing it from 5 members to 7. Is that a fair statement, Lorraine? And is that really the only change? Since it's not redlined, I sort of had to go back and forth, but that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the major change.
Okay.
What are the minor ones?
I didn't rewrite it, but, you know, I'd have to go back and.
They're mostly wordsmithing, there's nothing major changing the original charge. The original Sucy-en-Brie charge was pretty thin, and this just comports more. I just used the Cork County one, really, so they're very similar now in
Okay.
terms of their, and
it was also revised to have more joint members between the Sucy-en-Brie one and the Cork.
Yeah, so at least 2 members will be
Yeah.
appointed.
Okay.
And the reason we're doing this is because there's a Sucy-en-Brie committee that is a separate 5013C, and we have our own sister city committee that involves Sucy-en-Brie and Cork.
Any other questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Tony?
I'm just reading this last sentence here.
Sure.
Oh, that's right, you added that donation thing, right?
That looks new, as well as the election of a chair and a vice chair and a clerk. Looks like it's new as well.
Good with me.
You good? Motion?
Will the Board of Selectmen vote to approve the update to, not that one,
It's just
You're
a
right.
sister city.
to the Sister City Sucy-en-Brie charge?
Second?
Seconded by Mr. Harris. Any further discussion?
None?
Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None. That passed. So the update to the coastal advisory charge, I can walk you through this. So this came to be after discussions with coastal coalition members, coastal advisory members, And I think some of the challenges that we've had over the past couple of years, trying to, fit a round peg into a square hole, if you will, and this gives us some flexibility. You'll see in the red line, a couple of things, adding some language to give us some flexibility in putting folks into those different definitions if they don't come forward, so that the committee can stay whole and have a quorum and be able to function and be able to be productive. Also to notate, we've separated out the coastal zone management members are only advisory only. They are restricted from participating in a vote. So we've updated that, so it's clear that they're just advisory. And with that, added an additional coastal resident so that there was an uneven amount of voting members on the board. So if you want to take a look, that's really the gist. Nothing else changed other than that, which would give us an additional position to fill this year. And we have a lot of great candidates too. This was written before the candidates came forward, but that's the gist of these changes.
Good.
Any questions?
No.
Any other questions?
No.
Did you want to make a motion then?
As soon as I find it.
It's before.
Move that the Board of Selectmen vote to approve the update to the coastal advisory charge.
Second?
Second by Ms. Vignani. Any further discussion?
No?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Great, thank you.
Thanks.
That'll help that committee immensely. All right. We have some one-day liquor licenses to approve. We go through a one-day wine and malt license.
Move the Board of Selectmen approve a one-day wine and malt license at Situate Maritime Center, 119 Edward Foster Road, for the following events. Tailor-made bartenders for a fundraiser on Saturday, August 26th, from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m.
Second.
Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye. And move the Board of Selectmen vote to approve a one-day wine and malt license at Situate Maritime Center at 119 Edward Foster Road for hospitable hostess for a birthday party, Friday, August 18th, from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Harris. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. We have another one from Harbor Wines that we have in our packet. I don't know if you want to see this. This, I think, came in late, so it wasn't in our electronic. So this is from Harborside Wines for a fundraiser event for the Magical Moon Foundation. That's taking place on August 19th.
Would the Board of Selectmen approve a one-day wine and malt license for Harborside Wines for a fundraiser with the Magical Moon Foundation located at 0 Common Street on August 19, 2017, from 5:30 until 9:30 p.m.
Second.
Where is it?
Where's 0 Common Street?
It's behind Esther Blacker's house, you know.
Oh, that's Steve
barn.
O'Brien's
Okay.
thing?
Right.
Yeah,
Great.
Steve O'Brien's.
Okay,
They already got an entertainment permit, and this is the one.
Okay.
that they wanted.
Perfect. Did we have a second?
I did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye. Nope, I'm in favor.
You're in favor?
Yep.
3-0 in favor, Lorraine. Okay. Did we get all those? Did we do the
Yes.
Clatta Farm one? Yes, that's
That's
Magical
what
Moon,
we said.
okay. So discussion and vote on the board and committee appointments. Maybe we can get through a couple of these. I know we've had a lot of great candidates. I don't know if we want to wait for some of the more difficult
Yeah, I
ones for
think-
when John's here, but maybe we can go through some of any renewals that you feel that you want to continue to support.
Yeah, number 3, could we do that one? Can you get there?
Do you want to look at this?
Well, I think we need to look at who,
Everything, yeah.
I would recommend that we wait until John gets here, because there's only 3 of us.
Can
If you-
Can we do CPC since?
Let me, see, what number is that in this thing?
Oh.
CPC is number,
Three. It's number 3 on the.
No, it's on the
Number
motion
two.
list, but
I
what?
did it up
Number
to
11.
you.
Number 11.
Oh, I know.
He's looking at his,
Tab.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
so,
How many vacancies, how many people?
so there's
looking?
one vacancy, no, sorry. There's one renewal, Gary, and there are 2 people that wanted to get on, but it was both their third choices.
Right.
Jennifer Foley and Steve O'Brien.
Jennifer Foley's first choice was Conservation Commission.
Oh,
She
right.
was the young lady.
And who's Steve O'Brien? Do you remember what he, oh wait, I probably have it here.
Steve O'Brien, I think his first choice was the Beach Commission.
That's right.
It's in this. I don't know where you keep your notes.
Steve O'Brien's first choice was Waterway, second choice Beach Commission, third choice CPC. And there are no openings on Waterways, one they did is, it was only set 1 term.
Okay, I'm fine with voting that one.
All right, do you want to make a motion for a community, for
Sure.
CPC?
Move to appoint Gary Myerson to the Community Preservation Committee for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named and completion of the Conflict of Interest Law online training is completed within 30 days.
Second.
Second by Sean Harris. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 3-0 in favor, Lorraine. Do you want to do Paul Paris? He's a reappointee for conservation,
I don't
and
think-
that still leaves, I think, 1 open position.
Correct.
So you're not really making a decision, well.
Oh, you
yes,
are, because you got
Yeah,
2
no, no,
people.
You're
yeah.
right, you're right.
No, Council on Aging ones I don't think we can do.
I don't think we can do that tonight.
How about number 9?
What about number 8, Colin Denise to the EDC, because they only have 3 openings.
It's number 9 on ours.
No, it's 8
Eight.
on here.
Well, 8 on this.
This one.
I gave you a new printout, Tony,
Oh,
in your packet.
So we don't want to reappoint Paul Paris?
I just think we have to look at all of the candidates and do all 3 of them together, or all 2 of them.
And what was the situation on that one opening? He's up for reappointment, but he's,
I think there's 2 people going for,
One
there's
spot.
3 people going for 2 spots,
3
with
for
Paul
2.
being,
3 for 2, right?
Yep.
Okay,
and John should probably be here.
okay.
Okay, we'll wait for John.
What
So
number,
if you go to this one.
what number tab is that?
The economic EDC is, here, I'm sure there's a few in
15,
front.
15.
15?
Bear with us, there's a lot of information here.
So nobody applied for that?
No,
And there's 3 openings.
which we really recently found out about. We're going to be advertising for those 3 additional openings.
Okay, so Colin's just wanting to renew.
Which they need to use in about 4.
Okay.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Move to appoint Colin McNeese to the Economic Development Commission for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named and a completion of the Conflict Interest Law online training program is completed within 30 days.
Do I have a second?
Second, sorry.
Second by Mr. Vignani, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Right, 3-0.
Could we, public buildings, I don't know what's there. That, what number is that, Lorraine?
Public Building Commission is number 19.
On,
19.
Well, we have it.
there must be just one number different. So on number
Here, we can look at.
13, it doesn't say what committee it is.
We
Well,
already
she looked
appointed
to open
that,
that,
so you
so
can take
she
that
can-
off. We appointed that at the last meeting. That
Okay.
was Sustainable Situate, Sustainable South Shore.
Right. Okay. Why don't we do this next meeting? Unless you see any other,
There's a couple like Chris Bagley, number 10, to traffic rules and regs.
If we want to do it when John gets back, that's fine, but can we put it at the
Early,
beginning of the
yeah.
agenda? Because it just keeps getting pushed off because we get to 10:30 at night and we're just
yeah.
leery-eyed.
I mean, this is one of the more important things that
Well,
we do.
we've got so many
it's-
great candidates that I think we really need to do them due diligence as well.
And I think we all have to, now that we've met them all, we all need a little bit of time to,
Absorb.
yeah.
Yep.
Maureen, put that as the first item of business at the meeting next.
Yes, I think we just need to get through it.
7 o'clock.
I mean, are there any other committees that are kind of waiting?
We have I think I have one person that's coming in for an interview on August 22nd.
All right.
So I think we should interview him. and
For
then
CPC,
just
well,
right
for what
after.
committee?
Okay.
What committee, Lorraine?
I
It's the
don't know.
Affordable Housing Trust, right? Isn't that what you
It's the
said?
Affordable Housing Trust.
Okay. All right. That's what you said. That's fine with me. Is that fine? Everybody else want to do
Yes.
that?
Yep.
That's yours. Okay. Thank you. All right. Discussion and vote election poll workers and poll hours for the special election that is being held on September 16th.
There's so many people, I thought it'd be easier for me to print out one copy for someone to read for the poll workers. Okay.
Do we have to read them all, or can we say as listed?
In the past, we've always read them all.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the legal is.
I'll do it.
All right. let's- I gotta find-
And there's two people that have titles on the right, just to point that out to you.
Titles?
Yeah, so you need to appoint that person as the deputy warden,
Oh.
and this person as the clerk.
Okay.
You're just gonna read the whole list?
You don't have to do addresses or any other private information, just the name.
Okay. So this is for the Republican election workers, is that right?
Yeah, whichever you want to do first, the poll hours for the special town election, and then we need the election workers, yes.
Let's just do the election workers right now, since you have that in front of you.
Okay. Move to appoint the following election workers from the list provided. The names are, oh my God, I'm going to butcher these people's names. Can I just say their first names? No. Jill Alabrandi, Dennis Bador, Al Bonet, Carmen D. Bonet, Kathy Bryan, Edward Casassa, Judith Casassa, Hope Crowell, Frederick Dorr, Lynn Donley, Diane Duffin, Carl Fitzgibbons, Karen Frey, John Gallagher, Robert Green, Dorothy Hancock, Eleanor Hayes, Stephen Huggard, Kathy Joyce, Edward Camp, Diane Kelly, Deidre Kelly, Anita King, Paula Kosman, probably Kosman, Camille Leonardi, David Leonardi, Karen Lyden, Jack Manning, Carol Miles, Marilyn Manier.
Excuse me, Tony, Jack Manning as the.
Oh, right. Jack Manning as the deputy warden. Carol Miles, Marlon Manier, David Nellis, Marilyn Ohala, Ron Robertson, Emily Robertson, Rita Rosen, Sonia Sones as the clerk, Mary Smith, Harold Tuttle, Suzanne Tuttle, Kenny Walsh, Nick Waterman, Eleanor Waterman, Diane Wells, Karen Warner, Ethel Wheatley, Ron Wheatley, and Deborah Young.
Second.
Second by Mr. Harris. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we need to talk about the poll hours for special town election to be held on Saturday. Kathy is suggesting 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Anyone
Anybody
from the,
have any issues
anyone in
with
the
that?
audience interested in?
I think 7 a.m. is good, because you get folks before they go to work on Saturday morning. And I think
What
you
did we
guys, you
do,
guys
Sean?
can experience, what happened after 5?
7 to 6? Is that what we did? Or no, 8?
Was it 8 at night?
No, 8 in the
8
morning, wasn't
a.m.? I honestly cannot remember.
it? It's very slow, but you know what?
Kathy wasn't here, and she did ask me to say to you that You know, a lot of people come early in the morning, and there was really no activity between 5 and 6.
In the last election?
That's what she said.
Okay.
7 to
I'm just
5?
repeating what she said.
Yeah, no.
Well, there were some, but there's two people running in the room right now. Anyone want to
Any
raise their hand
comment?
and give any comment?
No, Kathy had told me the same thing, that it's, you know, it dribs and drabs after 5, so. I think
Which,
I
Karen
think it should be-
Canfield? Yep.
Oh, sorry, Karen Canfield, 39, sorry.
I think 6 would be good, because even if it's dribs and drabs, those people's voice should be heard, right?
I think everyone should, but then you could say go to 7 and 8. I mean, you got to draw a line in the sand. I think it's, if there's a reason, like if you think people get out of work at 5 and then need that extra hour to get there, then that's what I think Sean and I were thinking while we went to 6.
Right, I think the debate is between the cost and, I don't know if it costs more to have for the other hour, or the both.
Well, why don't we do it on the other end then? Do you do 8 to 6 then? Instead of 7
Well,
to 5?
I like the idea of first thing in the morning.
Yeah, the numbers of what she said, that the participation have typically borne out that people come earlier.
Yeah.
You know, do it first thing in the morning on a Saturday. But that's
You know
just
what?
been my conversation with Kathy.
I would say if Keith wants it till 6, let's do it till 6.
Yes.
If you think that's, I mean, we don't want to obstruct anyone from being able to vote.
They'll be the ones standing out there.
Right.
All right, motion?
Move that the poll hours for the special town election to be held on Saturday, September 16th, 2017, at the Situate High School gym located at 606 Chief Justice Cushing Way are from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m.
Second.
Second by Mr. Harris. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right. And then there's just something, there's a letter in your packet here. The Situate Housing Authority, through Stephen Coulter, the chair, had asked us to provide a letter of support for the project as they go through the financing process with HUD. So this letter is just in your packet, being sent over them, conveying that the town is supportive of the project, you know, and the favorable vote at town meeting to support the project as well, and accept.
You're talking about the project behind Central Housing.
Yes, the Situate Housing Authority, new affordable housing project that we utilize CPC funds and Affordable Housing Trust funds to make it 100% affordable. Yep.
Motion?
Do you have a motion?
Will the Board of Selectmen vote to approve the town's support for the disposition application filed by the Situate Housing Authority?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? 3-0 in favor. Lorraine? So then correspondence?
Sure. I'll help John out. We have an invitation for the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Lester J. Gates Middle School, which is on August 27th, which is a Sunday, from at 1 p.m.
Yep.
And we also have a letter from Arthur Brown to Chief Stewart. I'd like to thank everybody that helped the 4th of July in Hummerock. It was the nicest in decades, and just really saying that the police department did a great job.
And then he's from...
He's
what-
from
what
the
are
Hummerock Business Association, right?
Something, I'm
Or-
not positive.
No, Beach, I meant Beach.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, sorry.
That's just...
Right up at the top.
Nice to, it must be the majority of them feel that way.
Yeah, and I've heard many people say that. I'm sure you guys have also, that it was...
That too.
That's it, right? Or is it-
There's
do I
just
have
one
that
more
one?
about the North River Shed water conservation. So on Saturday, September 9th, Samantha Woods from the North and South River Watershed Association will be speaking at the Situate Town Library from 2 to 4 p.m. to talk about water conservation, and it's a hands-on workshop from families from 2 to 2:45. And then there's a lecture for adults from 3 to 4. So it's a great way to educate your kids on how to learn how to continue to conserve water, because it's so important to us. And that's it. before we do the approval of minutes, and then
Other
let's
business?
see if you have any other business, any additional?
Want to do the minutes first?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Move to accept the meeting minutes of the Board of Selectmen meeting held on July 11th and July 25th of 2017.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? 3 approved, Lorraine? And then there's another section
Move to
there.
accept and not release the executive session meeting minutes held on July 25th, 2017, since the matter discussed is still pending at this time.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, 3-0 in favor. And then before we move to adjourn and signing the documents, is there anything, Sean, that you wanted to add?
No, I'll let you, I'm sure you're gonna talk about, just, briefly about Heritage Days, that was all. I think it was a great success, but I'll let you, Tony, talk about that. I don't have anything else.
You can go first, Tony.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention a couple other events that are coming up. And this one's for Tom at the gym. On 8/29/17, Public Safety Complex, Joe Norton dedication is happening at the EOC at 6 PM. So that's on 8/29, August 29th. There's also a antique car show, what's the date today? Next week, on the 17th, from 6 to 8 in Cole Parkway. That's been a great draw. And then there's also a dedication for Hunter's Pond on September 6th, mid-morning. So those are other big events that are going on that people may want to know. And again, just to repeat the one that Maura mentioned at the beginning, on 8/14, the celebration of life for Frank Lynch at Trinity Chapel, Boston College. Those are important dates to mark down. What else, do you want to talk about Heritage Days? You want me?
Yeah, I mean, on behalf of the board, I mean, you can too. Heritage Days, I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce. I thought it was really well run. I haven't heard any complaints. I've heard only positive feedback. I personally haven't. I want to thank the galley for closing their windows, as they said they would do. They did do that with the band there, so I thought it was a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, I thought the chamber did a great job. It was organized, it was clean. Obviously, the weather helped it. And there was just a huge outpouring of town people on Friday night with the Friday night events, and then all weekend, whenever you walked around there was just a ton of people that you knew. You know what I do want to thank? I want to thank Sean Harris. Sean gets one of his huge rigs, and he drives to the Marshfield Fair, and he loads up all of those
Not
wooden...
me. There's a lot of the high school
Well,
football
this year you had
team.
help, but usually there's no help, and
No,
there's some help, yeah. Those huge benches, he gets them out of this thing, because my son helped you put them back. He said he had the worst job. He said you're working like a dog. Got to load them all in his truck, bring them all, load them all, and then pick them back and forth, and he does all that as a nice help for the...
least I can do.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say along those lines, Tricia, and I just thought it was pretty neat, in the years past, it didn't go this way. So, parking along Kent Street,
Yes.
all right? So we used to say, no, and you're gonna get ticketed. And they would get tickets. And if someone gets a ticket, they're never gonna come back to this town. So the chamber couldn't have done a better job on promoting, hey, park in these lots, the school buses are going back and forth, but still, Sunday, I couldn't believe it. Sunday, people lined both sides of the street, of Kent Street, from the church all the way up to Ridge Hill Road. But the best part was, and, 2 vehicles could still get by, but the best part was, there weren't any tickets on the cars. And that's, it's, as long as emergency vehicles can get back and forth, I want to thank the police department for, not looking the other way. I'm sure they were very busy, but, there's a balance there, How would you feel if you came back and, you got a ticket,
So they usually put the sawhorses out if they don't want anyone to park there, which they didn't do this year. And I drove down Sunday as well, and noticed the same exact thing. But you're right, 2 vehicles could.
Right, if the people went slow, and so I just think that made it. I saw that Sunday afternoon, and I said, that's good,
And a quick thanks also, because, Sean obviously did some help there too, but the fire, I saw the fire department in action. I saw Al Elliott helping some woman that had
He was there all
fallen down. I saw police there, you know, helping kids find their parents or what have you. I saw the DPW there picking up all the trash timely. You know, it's really a town effort that goes into that, and it's, you know, I'm sure I'm missing 100 people that we should be thanking, but it was a clean event, it was a good event, there was no real problems, and I think the citizens of the town enjoyed it, so.
Well said. The one last thing that I just want to bring up, if you don't have
I
anything
don't
else
think I
to
have
say,
any, no.
is I just want to let folks know that the crosswalk on Route 3A, right at the intersection of First Parish Road, is going to get repainted, and also the curbing is going to get redone for handicap accessible before school opens. So they're going to move it a little bit. With some effort on behalf of our DPW department, Representative Cantwell, and Senator O'Connor, you know, we've gotten the DOT's attention to make those little improvements before the new school opens. So just want to let folks know what's going to happen. All right. If there's nothing else, motion to adjourn to sign documents.
Move to adjourn and sign documents?
Second?
Second by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.